Oh, it's live, Hal.
We will ban you from the Summerfest.
Right here in the Silverdome.
Jeff Harvey.
And I have half the brain that you do.
Welcome to the Wrestle Hunks Podcast, a podcast where three hunks get together and discuss some of the very worst things you can find on the WWE Network. As always, I'm joined by the hunkiest hunk, Brody Price.
I'm not feeling my hunkiest at the moment, boys, but I'll keep it together for one episode.
We'll try to lift your spirits on this podcast.
I'm sure we will.
And I'm also joined by the self-proclaimed IMDb of wrestling, Nathan Marlow.
Do you want to know who's next? Your insert top text.
You know what I'm just noticing here as I read the opening intro script? I don't think I've ever introduced myself on this podcast.
What's your name?
I was going to mention that, but we just never got to it.
It just doesn't say my name. I'm Brandon Marlow.
Okay. Oh, that makes a little bit of sense.
It's nice to meet you.
I don't have a cool nickname.
Yeah, that's why you didn't introduce yourself.
I'm waiting for an organic one, you know? The fans will come up with something.
Yeah, like the, I don't know, the Mordecai of Wrestle Hunks.
The Mordecai of, what's something that starts with M to do with audio or some shit?
The Mordecai of microphones.
Yes, I like that.
off the cuff, just like that.
So the Wrestle Hunks podcast has a new sponsor this week. We've been sponsored by the Simon System for the past few episodes. But this week we've got a new sponsor aboard. We're brought to you this week by Nitro Grill. And as always, our expert Nathan Marlow will tell you a little more about it.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. It's the WCW Nitro Grill, where the big boys eat.
You're going to catch it opening January 12th, 1999. I want to see you guys at the Las Vegas Excalibur Hotel.
And I want you to get yourself a Goldberg, brother.
Or a DDB, a Diamond Dallas Burger. Or how about you grab a Diamond Cut
Booker T-Bone or Big Sexy Porterhouse.
And then make sure you stop by the gift shop because this is where the big boys eat.
That was better than the Simon System.
That is a lot better, and you've come up with that completely off the cuff, haven't you? Because surely there's not any ads for the Nitro Grill.
I've done that 2 minutes beforehand, looking at the menu, so...
Not bad.
Nitro Grill sounds like something you'd find on the Gold Coast.
It lasted like 9 months.
Right next to Sizzler and Hard Rock Cafe.
I like Hard Cock Cafe.
I like Stardust.
Hey, me and Nat have been to the Hard Rock Cafe before. We got a few collectible cups.
I've been there twice on 2 separate occasions.
Oh, did you get collectible cups on that second occasion?
No, it was kind of shitty. Definitely not like the childhood days.
Bring back Nitro Grill and WWF.
And we went to... Remember when we also went to Hard Rock Cafe in Bali too?
Oh, yeah, but that was shit. That was at the airport, you know? It's just... It doesn't have the same vibe.
I agree.
You boys ever go to the Hooters on the Gold Coast?
I did. It's pretty average.
Yeah,
I can't say that I've ever been.
It probably should be shut down.
I mean, yeah, but treat yourself if you're ever there, Brandon.
I might next time I head up the Goldie.
It's one of the biggest attractions.
It's probably a bigger attraction than Dreamworld at the moment, so they can hang their hat on that.
That's some Australian news.
I'd rather drive 18 hours to the Taco Bell up there.
I'd rather be on the Andrew Test Martin steroid regime than go to Dreamworld and risk my life.
Jesus. Do you know Nathan's mission in life is to drive to Brisbane to eat at Taco Bell?
Jesus Christ, man!
But we
fly, you know. It's 2018.
Oh, don't be silly. We've agreed we're going to drive it's the 12 hours or something to Sydney Harbour Bridge. We have to drive over that because we might as well. We're going that way. We have to. Jack wants to wank on the dog on the taco box. Don't know if we're allowed to say that. And also then we travel, I think it's another 9 hours to go to Taco Bell in Gold Coast.
Man, you could just go to Taco Bill's.
It is definitely not the same. It's not even drive-through. It's not even drive-through.
I mean, anything's a drive-through if you're keen enough.
But, hey, do you know what's not drive-through?
The WCW Nitro Grill, brother.
Oh, yeah, you can't get the kind of service you get at Nitro Grill going through a drive-through. You need the full sit-down meal experience.
Exactly. It's where the big boys eat, boys.
Well, I might as well explain the concept of the show at this point. What we do here on Wrestle Hunks is we go onto the WWE Network, find some awful shows, and after we put it to a poll, we review whatever is the most popular. And this week we're reviewing Backlash 2003. We got our biggest response to date on this poll. Backlash won with 34% of the votes, just edging out the Great American Bash 2004 on 31%. WCW Greed 2001 was further back on 24%, and Season 1 of Slam City received a dismal 11% of the vote. I don't know about you boys, but I was on the edge of my seat watching this vote go back and forth.
Yeah, I was really hoping I'd pull one through, but unfortunately the hunks spoke and they sided with Nathan for some reason.
The hunkamaniacs and the hunkettes are on my side.
It's ridiculous. You've won 3 polls in a row now. That's just what are the odds?
I know what the people want.
But the Great American Bash had Mordecai.
It had Mordecai. It had other things, probably.
Yeah.
A Concrete Crypt.
Yeah. That was a main event.
Yeah, well, this had Sean Morley.
Oh, the Chief.
The Chief.
The big guy, the Chief.
The big Chief Balboski.
I was, even though Greed couldn't hang on to the lead that it had about 2 hours into the poll, it was nice to see that the fans listened to me after last week. I really put them under the pump for not voting, and this week they came out in droves.
I'm happy. So how many did we get? 70?
Yeah, I think it was 70, maybe a little bit over. It's just unheard of for this poll. Breaking records.
Yeah, we're looking at high 20s usually, so that was good to see. It was good to see that many get in amongst it. Hopefully they're all listening as well.
Yeah, they better be. Listen, we have to do Backlash 2003 now, so they better bloody tune in. What did I call them last week? Motherfuckers?
I believe that was the terminology.
Maybe that could be the fan name for our podcast. All the motherfuckers out there. Hunkamaniacs or motherfuckers? You decide.
We'll throw a poll up. Motherfuckers or hunkamaniacs.
Just with no context, just have the options. But yeah, the reception for Slam City in the poll was deeply concerning and saddening for me.
I don't know. Whoever responded and asked why it's on the poll, I mean, go have a look at it. Go check it out on the network. It goes for about 40 minutes all up, and you'll see why it was in the poll.
We don't review the good stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly, and we don't discriminate on this podcast. Just because Slam City isn't technically wrestling, it's on the network, so we're going to review it, damn it.
I can't wait till we review it one day. We're going to get to it, for sure. Eventually.
Maybe if I put up 4 options in a poll, because my poll options seem to be the most hated, maybe it'll just win by default.
We can only hope. That's a good strategy, actually.
So, heading on to Backlash 2003, had either of you boys actually sat down and watched this prior to the podcast?
I've seen it once.
Yeah,
what about you, Pricey?
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about my love for Goldberg initially when I became a wrestling fan. So, 2003, I sort of went back and, as a kid, trying to collect the DVDs from that year. That was like the year I wanted to watch. And going back and knowing Goldberg's first match was Backlash 03, I wanted to see this pay-per-view. So, I hadn't watched it for a long time, but yeah, I remember watching it when I was a bit younger.
I fucking love your commitment to Goldberg and 2003 in general.
It was weird, you know? I don't know why. I don't know why I was a fan of his. Especially when people shit on his run from 03 to 04. But yeah, I have a lot of knowledge about that year in general.
I remember seeing the DVD for this, probably Insanity. a bunch, and it would be like, oh wow, Brock Lesnar wrestles John Cena on this. Man, I got to get this. That's such a crazy match. Didn't think that ever happened in 2003, but never got it for some reason.
It seems like a weird one-off that they had that. Maybe just to like test the waters with Cena in the main event. I don't know, but
Well, I have in my notes, Brandon. This pay-per-view is April 27th. Do you think we bought WrestleMania 19 at this time?
Ooh,
Because you got it for your birthday, but it was a late birthday present.
possibly. Because, yeah, it wasn't like something like I picked up WrestleMania 19 like a while after. Because I remember it I think it was in like a big like display. Like they're like, oh, this has just come out. So, yeah, actually, we might have. I remember we had a whole family viewing party of that when we bought it as well. That was weird. Do you remember?
I remember that. I actually remember that. Yes, and Mum was loving Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho.
We only got up to Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho, but it really brought the family together.
a little upset I didn't get invited.
Hey, if we had known you then, you would have been the first person invited.
Yeah, I probably would have actually.
So what memories do you have of this? I guess this is directed at Pricey because Nat didn't watch it back in the day, but you were an avid watcher of the DVD, I assume?
Yeah, probably watched it a couple of times. I don't really know what my memories were. Just that Goldberg won. I was happy. I was happy that he got the win. Other than that, I don't know a whole lot about what happened on the show. That was like the main thing that I was concentrating on.
That was a train wreck.
Hey?
That was a train wreck.
Sorry, I'm just, I wanted to get in there. The old DVD cover be a little bit sticky. I couldn't hold in the laughter before I could get it out.
No comment.
And I'm not talking about the Stacey Keebler and Torrie Wilson segments, by the way.
No, neither would I. I would
Talking about one Bill Goldberg.
the main event. He's a big horse, big Goldberg.
Do you reckon he's got a big rig on him or what?
Oh, it'd be weird if he didn't, wouldn't it?
I must admit, he's got a nice little layer of chest hair.
Yeah, that's what drew me to him as a kid. Just wish I could have that one day.
All right, so into the history, background, and build-up of Backlash 2003. Actually, I have not even put down the date of this event. So what did you say the date was, Nat? I've still got
April
October 3.
27th.
I appreciate that, Nat. October 27th, 2003, because I still have October 3, 2015 on my notes here, so...
You're a dickhead.
I need to be have my Mordecai of microphone title revoked. But on the 27th of April 2003, these other things also happened. Into Club by 50 Cent was number 1 on the song charts. And Identity was the number 1 film at the box office. I've never heard of that movie, but that Into Club is a banger.
Just going to assume that's a Liam Neeson movie.
I don't think it was.
I'm just going to assume it
I
is.
saw an image of it and it looked kind of garbage, but I'm upset that I went on the website that I usually go to find out what happened on this day in history, and apparently no random surgeons or like terrorist attacks happened on this day.
It's disappointing.
I put in that date and gave me absolute donuts.
So how are we going to make funny jokes about someone's name?
I know, we're going to have to make up with it with more test jokes, I guess.
50 Cent, more like $1.
Oh yeah, more like stolen identity.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Backlash 2003 pay-per-view was held in the Worcester Centrum in Worcester, Massachusetts. I had never heard of this building ever in my life. In fact, I've never even heard of the city. Have either of you heard of this city?
Yes.
Did you actually? How? You're pulling my leg, aren't you?
I'm pulling you like it's no Massachusetts.
I actually completely didn't even remember that it was in Massachusetts until Cena came out, and I was like, oh yeah, this is in Massachusetts.
West Newbury.
By the way, Nat, you got to turn your old headphones down. Hearing a little bit of echo, bro.
That is insane because I'm using different headphones.
Oh, you know what? The fans, they complained about that echo in that episode 3.
Did they? Well, fuck him.
No, they didn't. But maybe the dude that complained about Slam City being in the poll, he would be the kind that would have complained that there was echo in like 3 seconds of audio.
Oh, well, stuff him, man.
He's
I'm
a
trying
piece of
my
shit, man.
best. Trying my best.
So the attendance for this event was 10,000 and the pay-per-view buy rate was 345,000. This was down compared to Backlash 02, which did 400,000. However, a Backlash pay-per-view would never come close to getting this sort of buys ever again. So when you put it like that, it's actually not too bad doing 345,000. And I was just looking through the buy rates for other pay-per-views that year. The Royal Rumble actually did more buys than WrestleMania that year, which is absurd because WrestleMania 19 is, in my opinion, the best WrestleMania of all time. Like, surely people didn't have more anticipation for Royal Rumble than WrestleMania.
But is that bias on your part?
Maybe a little, but come on, WrestleMania 19. Look at the card. Top to bottom, one of the greats.
I won't argue with that, but I don't really hear people in general saying that that's one of the best. Do you?
The WWE's favorite band in the whole world. Limp Bizkit.
They're gonna have Crack Addict.
3, 2, 1. This is gonna be huge. I can't wait.
I'm just gonna assume that everybody was at WWF New York, and that's why the buy rate was down, even though that was probably closed by then.
No, that's where I was during WrestleMania 19.
I could imagine Lil Pricey running wild in WWF New York.
Oh, I was having a blast.
I can't wait till we watch WrestleMania 18 and we get to see Big Show in WWF New York. WrestleMania, baby! Woo!
That's where he belongs. Not in the ring, in a restaurant.
Is that a fat joke?
I mean, you can take it however you want, man.
Oh, he's trimmed down now.
Yeah, but still, he should retire. If I ever see the Big Show again in my life, that'll still be too soon. I really botched that saying there, but...
Look, hopefully he's there on Saturday night when we're at the MCG.
Oh, man, I'll fight him. I'll fight him in the crowd. So, compared to the other non-Big Four pay-per-views that year, Backlash performed pretty average. It did fewer buys than No Way Out, Unforgiven, and Vengeance, but managed to do more buys than Judgment Day, No Mercy, and Armageddon, which actually all three of those performed rather poorly. Kurt Angle is the focus of the pay-per-view poster here, alongside the rest of Team Angle, and unfortunately Kurt's neck is fucked, so he isn't here. So basically, Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas are the poster boys for this pay-per-view.
Wait, what poster are you looking at? I've never seen one other than the Goldberg one.
It's the one on the network, man.
Yeah, the thumbnail on the network is Angle.
I just assumed that was the poster.
Right, Backlash 2003 and Wikipedia, it's Rock Goldberg. That's the cover of the DVD.
No, man, that's a shit pay-per-view poster.
Definitely.
If you go Backlash 2003 into Google Images, on the second line, you'll see Angle in the middle with Haas and Benjamin next to him.
Yeah,
That's the one that's
pretty cool, actually.
So.
That is pretty cool.
It's like, shout out to Charlie Haas. So, as we kind of mentioned earlier, about a month before this pay-per-view, WrestleMania 19 was held at Safeco Field in Seattle, Washington. The match card featured Matt Hardy defeating Rey Mysterio for the Cruiserweight title, The Undertaker defeating A-Train, and Big Show in a handicap match. Shout out to Nathan Jones. Woo! The pride of Australia, which is a subtle tease for the end of the podcast.
Oh, foreshadowing. Nice.
Trish Stratus defeated Jazz and Victoria for the Women's Championship. Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin defeated Chavo and Eddie, Chris Benoit and Rhino in a triple threat tag team match for the tag titles. Shawn Michaels defeated Chris Jericho. There was the Miller Lite cat fight, which we can't forget about, which was apparently ended in a draw, according
also
to
no
Profile
time.
Triple H defeated Booker T for the World Heavyweight Championship. Hulk Hogan defeated Mr. McMahon in a street fight. The Rock defeated Stone Cold. And Brock Lesnar defeated Kurt Angle for the WWE Championship. We kind of talked about it just before, but where do you rank this WrestleMania in terms of your favourite and what you personally think is the best WrestleMania of all time?
Do you want me to go, Nat?
I'll just go first. It's easier. This is my favourite WrestleMania of all time, but I just watched WrestleMania 18 the other day, and that's up there, but probably best is WrestleMania 17.
You reckon WrestleMania 18 is up there? I see most people...
I like it. I liked it, but probably WrestleMania 17 is probably the best.
I don't think I like it as much as you guys. I feel like is this like the first Mania that you guys watched?
This was definitely the first Mania we ever watched.
It's also the last pay-per-view without Goldberg. I guess that's why you hate it.
Yeah, 100%, man. Things didn't pick up until the next night on Raw. But because my favorite's not my favorite, but WrestleMania 20 was the first one I saw, so I have like just a strong memory of that as a kid. My favorite, I don't know if I have one. I think 20 or 31, the three of us watched together.
Yeah, 31's a good choice.
I really enjoyed that one. But the best, everyone seems to think 17's the best, but I think WrestleMania 9, personally.
WrestleMania 9 is it's a good choice.
Yeah,
that's a real wrestling fan's choice.
Yeah, some people just don't get it.
Personally, I have this as my best and favorite WrestleMania, but I'm obviously biased. This is the first WrestleMania I watched, and I think this. Correct me if I'm wrong now. This was the first wrestling DVD we ever had?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure it was this. So, we watched this, on loop, basically. So, I'm definitely biased.
We also got there's a special features on it, is Goldberg's debut the next night.
Yeah.
Oh, so you guys should understand.
We do. We understand a little bit.
Yeah, okay, good.
I just thought The Rock should have retired and been appreciated.
But, when you look at the card, there's the handicap match with The Undertaker. It gets 1 1/4 stars from Meltzer, but everything else is 2 1/4 stars or better. So, from a match quality rating, it's, clearly pretty good. But, yeah, as you mentioned earlier, Pricey, nobody ever really brings up WrestleMania 19 at all. Which is weird considering it's got The Rock retiring Stone Cold and stuff like that. It's got some pretty actually iconic moments.
I think a lot of people sort of remember Triple H going over Booker T as one that shouldn't have happened, I guess. But the Jericho Michaels match is really good. I've gone back and watched that. I know that's a good match. But I've never taken the time out to go and watch the whole pay-per-view since I was very young.
All right, you should do it sometime. You could probably skip past the Undertaker's match and the Miller Lite stuff if you're not feeling like a fucking pervert horn dog.
I'm always feeling like a pervert horn dog.
But yeah, that's from top to bottom. Even the Cruiserweight title match, which only goes 5.5 minutes, is still pretty solid for an opener.
I was a big fan of the Cruiserweights when I first started watching wrestling, so I actually do remember watching that one as well, actually, and that's a decent match.
Plus, it's got the Mattitude follow Shannon Moore, so that's always a positive in my book.
That's another reason why you like the pay-per-view. I should have noticed that.
Any event that has Shannon Moore, not in his stupid punk gimmick, but it has him, that's a 5-star event in my book.
Yeah, makes sense.
So the main event at Backlash was the encounter between Goldberg and The Rock. This was the main feud from Raw heading into the event, which is a little bit weird for this time that the main feud doesn't involve Triple H in a World Heavyweight Championship match. The feud began on March 31, 2003, which is where The Rock was holding a Rock Appreciation Night after he'd defeated Stone Cold at WrestleMania 19. During this segment, The Rock discussed a list of people he'd beaten in his career, and he started wondering who was next for him in the WWE. This led to Goldberg making his debut. He came down to the ring and stated that The Rock was next. And after a confrontation, Goldberg spears The Rock. The following week on Raw, Goldberg and The Rock had another confrontation where Goldberg provoked The Rock into answering his challenge for a match at Backlash, but The Rock refuses. The Rock then finally accepts Goldberg's challenge on the April 14, 2003 episode of Raw via satellite. Geez, I just reading that now, I realise that's that might be the origin of The Rock coming in via satellite.
Okay.
So I just thought you would like the some history there, you know.
I forgot that was a thing. Kind of wiped that from my memory.
You don't remember the cool shirts that Cena would have, like it would be like I bring it via satellite. He got wrecked, man. He got owned.
You can't see me.
Oh man, I like to forget that return ever happened from The Rock. So the week before Backlash, the feud intensified as The Rock held another segment. This was the Rock concert, which I haven't seen that particular Rock concert, but if it's anything like the ones when he came back, it was probably dog shit. Here he mocked Goldberg with Gilberg, and then later in the segment, Goldberg appeared from the audience, entered the ring, but only to have The Rock execute a rock bottom on him. I wanted to ask you boys here, because you might know a little more than me, you know how they play like a little vignette about Goldberg appearing at Backlash at WrestleMania 19? Was that the first mention in the WWE that Goldberg was coming?
I have no idea.
I think so. I don't remember anything else or reading anything else.
I don't remember this.
You don't remember, like, somewhere in the card, it just, like, a match finishes or whatever, and then it cuts to, like, a little promo package showing, like, Goldberg clips and shit, and then it says that Goldberg will be at Backlash.
Shit, no, I don't.
Yeah, it does that, and, like, when watching it, like, at the time, I was like, oh, whatever, yeah, Goldberg came back. But watching it now, and, like, thinking about it, it's like, I feel like that's the first time they ever acknowledge that Goldberg is coming to the WWE, which is a pretty big moment, considering, like, how huge Goldberg is.
I probably could have ruined the return, the debut, I guess, the next night. I mean, if people knew it was coming.
Yeah, it's so weird that, like, it's because it's an advertisement for Backlash. Like, not even, like, tune in tomorrow night on Raw.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know, they could have just let it go if they're going to do it the very next night.
Seems like a waste.
So the predominant match at Backlash for SmackDown was a WWE Championship match between John Cena and the reigning champion Brock Lesnar. Their feud began on February 13th on SmackDown when Lesnar and Cena had their last match. This ended with Lesnar putting Cena on the shelf by using the F5 and kind of throwing him into the ring post, which gave him an injury. I'm not sure if that was a kayfabe injury or an actual injury, but he sits out for a little bit. At WrestleMania 19, Lesnar challenges Kurt Angle for the WWE title, and he wins the match.
I think you're missing out that Cena had his rap battle with himself at WrestleMania 19.
Is it a rap battle with himself? I thought he just performs a rap.
The original plan was Cena, and they wanted they were trying to get Jay-Z to rap battle.
Oh shit! Yeah, I remember Bruce Pritchard talking about that. They wanted Jay-Z, and then they they go through a bunch of names. Somebody pulled out real late.
Then they got someone else, and then they were worried if Cena actually battle the rap battle.
They're worried that you'd have a moment where Flo Rida and Bo Rida had the rap battle, and Bo Dallas came off way better than Flo Rida.
Exactly, and then I think Cena had the cutout of Jay-Z. Really,
I've never seen this.
Yeah, it's not even on the DVD.
Was this on? This would have been on Sunday Night Heat, I guess.
I guess so.
The classic tag title match with Kane and RVD versus Chief Morley and Lance Storm.
And they retain.
Thanks to Devon Dudley.
And then they just lose it the next night.
So yeah, at the end of that Lesnar Angle match, Lesnar botches a shooting star press, and Angle's neck also gets pretty fucked up. So on the April 3, 2003 episode of SmackDown, General Manager Stephanie McMahon announces a WWE Championship tournament where the winner would receive a WWE Championship match at Backlash. Cena was involved in this tournament, obviously, and he defeated Chris Benoit in the finals on April 17. This gave him a shot at the title at Backlash. A week before Backlash is when really the feud actually started. During a main event with Lesnar and A-Train. Cena interfered by breaking a pinfall attempt by Lesnar, and after the match, Cena hit Lesnar with his trademark chain and the WWE Championship belt. Personally, I found it a little weird that John Cena was in the main event here at like the start of 2003. I still think of Cena as like either a jobber or like someone really low on the card, but like clearly the WWE are pretty high on him in 2003 to give him a title shot at Backlash.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned before, it could have been just sort of testing the waters, sort of to see if he could swim in the main event, and I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I've never really thought.
I just said in my notes that it was definitely not believable that Cena was going to win.
Oh yeah, it's definitely one of those.
After all the build-up,
it's like when R-Truth had his match with Cena at Capital Punishment. It's like he's not going to win, but it's crazy to see like Cena wasn't even on the WrestleMania 19 card, and I don't think he'd held a title at all in the WWE at this point. And so like to have him all of a sudden get into the main event. And I'll get into it a little bit later on, but the people he defeats in the championship tournament to get to Backlash is like ridiculous. Like, he goes over a bunch of big names.
Well, we saw it recently before SummerSlam. AJ Styles had just had that one-off pay-per-view match with Rusev, and maybe it was for that, just so Brock could have a match for Backlash before he got into like a longer feud with, I don't know, whoever he feuded with after this.
Yeah, you see him do that a fair amount. Like they don't really have much planned, and then they just throw in like a one pay-per-view feud. They do it a lot with Kane.
Does he have that Undertaker feud after this?
No, I don't think so. I think.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't say off the top of my head.
I've just got on my notes. Did Undertaker die? Not on the card.
Well, he lost to Cena in the tournament.
Did Nathan Jones kidnap him?
Actually, I'm going to save it for later. But there is a little bit of info about what was going on with the Undertaker at this time that you might have missed during the show. There's a little Undertaker cameo.
Clearly did.
So it's time to head on to actually reviewing the show now. And it's everybody's favourite time of the week. It's time to see how many dead people are on this show. And this week, I think this is a first time that we've ever gone this high. There are 4 dead people on this show.
I was trying to figure it out during this morning. I was trying to think who would be the unlucky names, but I could only think of Roddy Piper and Test.
Sean O'Hare.
Really? Is he really?
Sean O'Hare, he committed suicide in like 2009, I think.
Oh shit!
For some reason, I'd remembered that he died. Like I didn't have to look that up. Like I knew it. It was weird, but yeah, you really can't get the 4th one, Pricey.
I don't know the 4th one.
Hold on.
Surely you can get it. This is the most obvious one.
Is it really?
Jeez. Can we have a hint?
He is on a match early in the card.
Oh shit!
You got it.
Okay, know it now.
Pricey stumped.
Pricey, you're gonna be mad that you haven't got.
Oh my god! Are you serious? How did I miss that?
It's Eddie.
Finally realised
my God.
Latino heat.
Okay. Hey, to me, he lives on in my heart, man. That's why.
Yeah, but he's in hell.
Well, Eddie ain't in heaven. As Randy Orton say.
It's crazy.
That's not my opinion.
This is a 2003 show and 4 people on it are dead. Granted, one of them is Roddy Piper, who was like pretty old.
Yeah.
And then one of them, Sean O'Hare, who had like 3 matches ever in the WWE, but
one of my notes is I miss Eddie, and I didn't. Anyway, we'll let that go.
Okay, so before the event aired live on pay-per-view, Scott Steiner defeated Rico in a match on Sunday Night Heat, and this has to be one of the biggest falls from the main event in history, one of the quickest falls. At Royal Rumble and No Way Out, Scott Steiner was in the main event with Triple H for the world title, and then a month after that, he doesn't appear on WrestleMania, and then on the pay-per-view after that, he's beating Rico on Sunday Night Heat.
Not everyone can be in the main event, man.
I mean, I feel bad for Scott Steiner, though. Like, he kind of deserved better.
I feel bad for Rico. He deserved better.
Yeah, because Rico knows he had no...
Rico's about to go on to bigger things here, isn't he? He hasn't teamed with Charlie Haas yet.
Oh, I get to that a bit later.
I'm glad you do. So the opening promo package for the show focuses entirely on The Rock and Goldberg. It doesn't mention any other feuds here. I also wanted to mention that I think the Backlash pay-per-view sets always sucked, but black ring ropes for pay-per-views are always great.
I agree with the ropes. In my notes, I just had that the different sets. They need to have those because this set you can just look at it and be like, okay, that's Backlash. I miss that.
Yeah, you
that's
can.
true.
You can really tell like this is definitely like a Backlash set.
Yeah.
But surely it can't be that expensive to have different sets for pay-per-views. Like just, I don't know, like use the same set every year when you do like TLC or Hell in a Cell. Like you don't have to create a new one every year, but at least have them be different to one another.
Did one of you say something about the Saudi Arabian show and how much they get paid recently?
I think Nat mentioned how much they're.
It's millions.
Yeah,
It's
well,
a
It's a
lot of
big
money.
contract.
spend it on new stage sets. Give the fans what they want.
I'm looking forward to the set for our show because it'll be different.
Yeah, it'll have to be like some sort of Australian sort of theming. I can't imagine what they would put there for that though.
Couple koalas.
Couple of hunks.
We don't have that many iconic like landmarks that you could do for that. I was thinking like the Opera House.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that really bad Australian WWE logo? It has the koala with the wrestling mask on.
Nah.
When you can go on the WWE Australia Twitter, and there's the Super Showdown merchandise, and it's just dog shit.
Oh wow, I'm actually.
They've had that for years. I don't know if it's probably not something you'd notice.
I saw a little image of it. Has like a WWE Live Australia logo, and there's a koala with a little lucha mask on.
It's pretty bad.
I'd wear that on a shirt.
Oh, well, you can pick one up this Thursday when WWE takes to the streets of Crown.
Wow,
They
all of
are having a
WWE
pop-up
takes to the
store.
streets.
Let's get a crown, have a punt, and then we'll buy some merch.
If you're a Wrestle Hunks fan, buy that shirt. And if I see you in that shirt, I'm going to assume you're a fan.
Just go up to random people.
I'd go up to him and be like, hey, what's your favourite segment on the podcast, hey? The part where all the wrestlers are dead? Yeah, cool, man. They'll be like, who the fuck is this creep?
Oh. They'll say the test bit, I'm sure.
I've got to ask you boys, why is Jonathan Coachman calling this pay-per-view for Raw? When I saw this, I was like, I already hate this pay-per-view.
Sounds frass.
Yeah, I miss JR.
What happened to JR to make him not be there? He was there at WrestleMania and then he just disappeared.
Just taking a week off.
I don't know. You're the host.
Yeah, you should do your research, pal.
Man, I don't reckon the internet has any deets about where the fuck Jim Ross was in 2003. It's hard enough.
The internet has no record of Jazz after 2004.
She's lost, man.
There's literally no mention of her.
Somebody help us find Jazz.
She might be dead.
I hope not. Teddy Long's baby girl. Alright, so we head into our first match of the Backlash card, which sees Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin defeating Los Guerreros via pinfall to retain the WWE Tag Team Championships. This match goes 15 minutes and 3 seconds, and Dave Meltzer gives it 3 stars.
We heard earlier tonight on Sunday Night Heat that Team Angle has dedicated this matchup to Kurt Angle. And they are bringing Kurt Angle, their captain, along in spirit here tonight.
Look at Kurt, he looks phenomenal. Look at Kurt. Hey, Kurt, what's up, man? How you doing?
What do we think of this opening contest?
Well, I have a couple little notes. The tag title design. There's a common theme. Maybe it's because I grew up around this era, but those championships look awesome, I thought. And surprisingly, Dave Meltzer and I had the same star rating.
Really? You and Big Daddy Dave just, canoodling with them star ratings.
Yeah, we get up to some business, that's for sure.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't enjoy this match.
Wow.
I don't know, I couldn't get into it.
Shut the front door, Nathan.
I didn't think it was as good as Meltzer rated it, or Pricey, apparently. But I thought it was a solid opener. I thought there were a few spots that were a little, not great, kind of awkward. And I thought the finish was a little sloppy. I don't know what you boys thought about that.
I had the same for the finish, but I thought the rest of it was fun. I'm entertained by Chavo and Eddie. One note I have, you guys know that Eddie's only 3 years older than Chavo.
Really? Jesus.
And that's his nephew. So, Nathan and I are 3 years apart. So I was just wondering.
Fuck, you're my uncle, bro.
You can just call me Uncle Pricey if you want.
Don't call me uncle.
Don't call me uncle.
A little idea I had.
I think on episode 50 of the podcast, we should have a paternity test or DNA test or whatever the fuck and review all that.
Good idea.
You're Nat's uncle. And then you just have a ladder match for the custody of Nat.
Oh, thank God. I just have in my notes here that I didn't like the finish because the crowd's bloody cheering Los Guerreros, but they're fucking heels. They stole the belts.
They really are heels. For those that don't know, I'll go into the finish here. Chavo goes for a back suplex, but then Shelton kind of trips him, which allows Haas to kind of put a cover on him. Then Shelton holds Chavo's feet down during the pin count, which allows Haas to pick up the victory. And then, as Nat mentioned, after the match, Chavo crossbodies Team Angle and they just kind of walk out with the titles. There's real heel antics there.
Can't believe you'd cheer for this.
They're funny though, guys. They're entertaining. Come on.
They really are pretty damn entertaining.
One quick thing I want to know. Charlie Haas has Russ, R-U-S-S, on his wrist tape. Does anyone know what that means?
Does he really? Are you sure it doesn't say Haas?
I used to think it said Haas when I was a kid. I still want to find out.
Wow, yeah. I remember me and Nat spent ages trying to figure out what MVP had on one of the sleeves of his early gear when he had the full sleeve.
And then we just bought the wrestling figure.
Yeah, and then we found out that was a much easier way than trying to fucking pause DVD recordings and be like, what does that say? Is this something about a ring?
Protect this ring, bitch.
Bring back MVP. I just wanted to mention, the combination of these four in the ring, they're all, basically ring technicians. It's a rare occasion where you get a tag match where all four are just, when it comes to ring work, are pretty, you can't really fault them at all. They're all basically just ring technicians.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like them all, but I just didn't like the match.
Yeah, I wanted to like it more than I did.
I did some research.
Oh my God.
The reason he has Russ on his wrist tape is his brother who passed away. His name is Russ Haas.
Okay.
Russ
That'll
Haas.
make sense. Russ Haas.
So, a little bit of information for you boys, and that I'm going to sleep easier tonight knowing that.
Well, I'm just going to say the WrestleMania Fatal 4.
Would you say then? You cut it out.
The WrestleMania 19 match is better than...
You reckon it's better? Yeah.
Yep.
It's kind of short, their WrestleMania 19 match.
Yeah, well,
Moving parts,
shut
I
up.
think.
But, and having Chris Benoit involved in that as well, kind of unfair. Because he's, you're going to get something pretty solid when he's in the ring, so...
Maybe for this one, I was just... because I loved Eddie growing up, so maybe it was just me being nostalgic and watching him and just enjoying his work, because, I didn't appreciate it at the time. I only got to watch him for a couple of years before he passed, so maybe I just want to enjoy his matches. Maybe that's why I liked it. I'm not too sure.
I mean,
Well, I'm giving this 2 stars.
Jeez. I'd probably go 2.5 stars. Like I completely agree with you, Pricey. Like I had here, just Eddie was so much fun to watch. Like Eddie's like antics in this match. It's like so much classic Eddie. Even down to the ref's back is turned and he slaps his hand to make it sound like he tagged in.
Yeah.
Like just stuff like that. Just wrestling's fun when shit like that's happening.
I feel like you could throw on any of Eddie's matches, and I would be entertained. And that's like not just saying that. I honestly feel like any of his matches were really good.
Yeah, I would have to give this at least 2.5 stars, maybe 2 3/4 if I'm being generous. I think there's some sloppy spots, but there's some really cool spots here. I thought the leapfrog tag that they do to get Chavo in at one stage is pretty impressive. There's a few moments like that where like I was kind of impressed that I was seeing this from just an opening match at Backlash.
Yeah, but being dead doesn't give you a good star rating.
Well,
I'm cold.
Need to respect Eddie Guerrero and Russ Haas.
I'm cold. You know what else is cold?
What?
The band song Remedy for this pay-per-view.
Yeah, well, you know what else is cold? Whatever this song was called that they had at Unforgiven 2003.
I looked that up before, Brendan.
What's it called?
Suffocate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they have both. They have 2 songs that are themes there, don't they?
Yeah, because of the year of the spider. There's a song for every pay-per-view. Yeah.
Oh well, I'm looking up that album now. What a banger of an album.
I can't believe there were so many hits on it.
Remedy was the lead track off that album. Yeah, Remedy, Suffocate, and then maybe someone else.
All the other ones.
Yeah, maybe the actual Unforgiven pay-per-view theme isn't from Cold. I'm gonna have a look at it quickly.
The Cold Day.
No, it's Enemy by Sevendust. But to be fair, all the bands around this time sounded the same, so I just want to get in that the way Chavo enters the ring is dope. Just thought I needed to say that.
Remind me?
When he does like his little flip into the ring.
He does the flip.
Kind of like how Chuck Taylor does his little slow fucking... Kind of like that.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
I wanted to get out of that because shout out to Chavo. So do we have any last thoughts on that match?
Not really.
I love Los Guerreros. I thought they were really good as a tag team.
I also love Shelton Benjamin.
Who doesn't?
He should have came back at the Royal Rumble with Carlito, Mr. Kennedy, and MVP.
I heard a rumor that that's going to happen this year at the next Royal Rumble.
Yeah, they're gonna form a stable.
Yeah.
Call it mid card 2000s. So after the match, Los Guerreros head backstage, jump in a lowrider, and drive off with the titles. I also noticed that the car is on a ridiculous angle when they drive off. It's like has one side of its wheels way up and one side of it's like completely down. I'm like, I don't know if you can drive on the road like that, Eddie.
He did what he wanted.
Maybe the title belts are weighing it down, you know, throwing off the center of gravity. After that, we cut to Torrie Wilson and Test talking backstage, which I thought was completely random at first. But it seems Test has been hitting on Torrie Wilson and she wants him to stop. I just wrote here, no means no, Test, you fucking pervert. Before I go on, how rapey is this fucking segment here?
It doesn't age well at all.
Jesus. Like, the things like Test is saying here is like, he's just,
you know you want me.
He's like, being such a tease. I'm like, man, this is the rapiest shit I've ever seen. Did you also notice that there was one point where Test implies that he cranks it to her Playboy pics?
It's not great.
I've seen those Playboy pics.
Let me just... If you were in that scenario, Brandon, would you turn Test down?
You saying if I was Torrie Wilson, would I turn him down?
Yeah.
Probably not.
He's a good looking guy.
But that's just an aesthetic curiosity. I want to know what his rig's like after all that steroid abuse.
Jeez, that'd be a nightmare, wouldn't it?
So Test physically stops her from leaving when she tries to walk off, and then he forcibly kisses her, which is, again, more rapey stuff. And then I've got here, that's Sable, yeah, that walks off after Torrie. She walks off, yeah?
Yep.
Because, yeah, I wasn't sure, and I didn't look it up. I'm like, I just assumed that's Sable.
She's in the other segment.
Yeah, but they never mention, like, they don't say it's Sable. So I'm like, I don't know, it might be some other blonde chick. It might be Dawn Marie.
She's not blonde.
I don't remember who Dawn Marie is, Nat.
Fuck's sake.
What are you doing?
What did Dawn Marie do? What did she get up to?
She was Torrie Wilson's mum.
Really? Wow, yeah. I'm looking at her now, and this is, wow. She's 47 years old. Oh, wow, this is, yeah, I'm learning so much.
What about Joy Giovanni?
Oh, man, there were so many randoms on SmackDown. Shout out to Crystal. So, after we finish that very rapey segment, we get an appearance from Rowdy Roddy Piper, and he's got a basket of coconuts because apparently he hit Rikishi with one a few weeks ago. Piper then cuts a promo, and apparently he's like managing Shawn O'Haire now because he brings out Shawn O'Haire, which is really weird. This leads us into our next match, which is Shawn O'Haire defeating Rikishi via pinfall in 4 minutes and 52 seconds. Meltzer gives this half a star.
I have a lovely bunch of coconuts. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present to you now the new Millennium Wrestler, the one with intelligence, the one with brain, the one and only Shawn O'Haire.
Just before we get into what we thought of the match, I just wanted to let you know, have some background about Shawn O'Haire here. He's literally been like just dicking around in OVW and on Velocity for like 2 years at this point, and this is like his big triumphant main roster return. Like that's a pretty big like go from.
And he won. What else do you want, bro?
You go from jobbing on Velocity to, oh yeah, Roddy Piper's your manager now, man.
Was he not on the SmackDown before this, or?
I think he might have appeared.
Yes. Did you listen to the match?
Yeah, because didn't he appear and he said he wanted to be like Piper's protege?
Piper, yeah, he wanted Piper to be his mentor, and the whole thing was that Piper doesn't like Rikishi because he's related to Jimmy.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing with the coconut thing.
But like, this is O'Haire's first match on SmackDown or Raw since I think his last like main roster like appearance was at the Immunity Battle Royal that they had, that test one.
Nice.
That was the last time he appeared on something that wasn't Velocity or Heat. So I only know this because I was going through it, seeing wrestlers that we could possibly review their careers on for the show, and I was like, why don't I look up Shawn O'Haire? I regret scrolling through that fucking list of matches.
We're getting some good Test shout-outs.
Yeah, there's so much Test over this. For a pay-per-view that features him in like 2 segments for like a total of a minute.
Yeah.
Test all over this podcast. So, to start the match off, Rikishi goes after Piper and O'Haire tries a sneak attack, but Rikishi avoids it. And then to end the match, they keep teasing the coconut with Piper, but eventually Rikishi gets his hand on it, smashes it on Piper's head, but because he's distracted, O'Haire is able to hit whatever his finisher is called and get the win. What did we think of this match?
It was pretty boring. I didn't really care for it. I'm not a big fan of Shawn O'Haire. I thought Rikishi's song, do we all agree that that's a banger? The Too Cool song?
Yep.
Yeah, he was over purely because of that and the stink face, I reckon, in his singles runs.
Yeah, that's something else. Like, how did he get that over?
He wasn't over in this match. He was getting booed.
There was people... Wait, was this match?
Yes. He was getting booed.
No, there was something happening in the crowd, and they were sort of like...
Oh, no, during his entrance.
I have it here. Something happens in the crowd during the match, which gets, like, heaps of boos and cheers. And when that happened, I wrote down, it's a bigger reaction than any of the in-ring action that they have going on at that moment.
Yeah.
That's many Rikishi's entrance.
I feel like someone was getting kicked out.
Yeah, something like that.
But yeah, there was a lot of reaction to it. I don't know what you're talking about, Rikishi's entrance, Nat.
Well, he got no reaction coming out. He's saying he was very over.
No, I'm saying, like, how did he get the stink face over? In general, like, not just this.
He had, there might have been no reaction for his entrance, but did you hear the crowd when he did the stink face? They were still popping for that in 2003.
Which I don't get. I don't want to see a big old man ass in someone's face.
He's also very...
He's very what?
Overweight.
Yeah, well, you know what? Quiche. He does what he does.
And also, the crowd loves Piper so much, it just overshadows Rikishi.
Yeah. Hey, how cool is it that we got to watch the Usos' dad?
Unbelievable, man. I can't believe Rikishi didn't go to his wedding or something. I can't remember the storyline from Total Divas, but yeah, fuck Rikishi. What a dog.
Did he fit on the plane?
That's for talking Divas when we start that one up, man.
I cannot wait until we start talking Bellas/Divas.
Also, I agree with Meltzer's rating there. Got 0.5 stars too.
Okay, I'm gonna shock you boys a little bit here, but I actually like this match.
Oh god.
I went into it, I'm like, oh my god, Shawn O'Haire, what a fucking, this is gonna be a train wreck. And then when I saw him and I remembered what Shawn O'Haire looks like, I'm like, Jesus Christ, just go away, man. But I actually didn't mind it. Like, I feel like Shawn O'Haire does some like impressive stuff here. He actually looks really fucking strong. And I don't know, I feel like I just didn't mind it. I thought Piper's segments, like teasing the coconut with the shits, but I thought O'Haire actually looked not too bad, and the match sort of put him over in the way that they wanted, so I couldn't really fault it too much. I don't know, I thought it was much better than half a star.
I'll never look at you the same way.
Just saying, man, Shawn O'Haire could have been anything.
I guess if you look at it, like, you're right, like, they did what they needed to do, storyline wise, and you know, he got the win and whatever, but yeah, I just couldn't give two shits about this match.
But guys, Shawn O'Haire had a spider on his tights. And he had a web on the back.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not sure why. Is that his gimmick, or why do you got spiders on there, man?
I don't know. Shawn O'Web would have been better.
I'm just going to chalk it down to him being a big Spider-Man fan.
Oh, that's what I would do.
So after that match ends, that apparently you guys and Meltzer thought was the drizzling shits. Come on, man. Shawn O'Haire's a fucking gun. Give some respect to the dead.
No.
Being dead doesn't get you a good star rate.
So we cut backstage to Stacy Keibler, and she's in catering eating like one tomato and a piece of zucchini. Sable then comes in and tells her about what happened with Test and Torrie. She's setting it up as if Torrie is the one hitting on Test. And once Stacy hears this, she smashes the world's tiniest plate on the ground. Now, Pricey, I think you have a bit to say about this.
Yeah, there's no way Stacy is eating all that food. Like, there is... I've got a picture here on my phone. There is a total of like 4 or 5 pieces of fruit and veg that she is not eating. No way.
Everything about that catering setup is dog shit. It's like the offerings there are garbage, and then she picks up like 4 pieces of fruit on the tiniest plate ever. And like,
did they put it on that tiny plate to make it look like there was more? Like, oh, the plate's full. Like, no, there's nothing.
Look at what she's eating.
This is like, she's kind of slender. Like, maybe she needs to like bulk up a little bit. Get a steak
put some meat on those bones.
Yeah.
She needs to book a T-bone.
She was a Nitro girl. She needs to get down to Nitro Grill.
Get a big sexy porterhouse.
Oh yeah, that's not a great segment for Stacy. Even her smashing the plate on the ground, it's just like, what are you doing? What was that?
I don't know. You and I, Brandon, we would have enjoyed a bit of goss if we would have been backstage, just eavesdropping the Golden Girls. Am I right?
That's definitely if we were in the WWE, we would be in the Sable role, I reckon, just listening on the goss and then spreading it around to people in catering.
Our gimmick would be spreading rumors.
So we get another backstage segment here. Unfortunately, it's not quite as good. We just see RVD and Kane. They're chatting about Chief Morley being the ref. And then Kane gives RVD a bit of a pep talk, which leads us into our next match, which is Kane and RVD defeating the Dudley Boyz via pinfall to retain the World Tag Team Championships. This match goes 13 minutes and 1 second, and Meltzer gives it 1 3/4 stars.
Everybody has been to the big five-star frog splash by Rob Van Dam. There is
Before we say anything else, I need to know, do either of you boys know why Morley, why is he high up in Bischoff's regime? What's the go here? Why is
when he came back, he came back from injury and came back just being Chief Morley.
Why is he chief?
I think it was because he was on SmackDown and then he got in. I guess he got hired by Eric Bischoff to be his crony.
And why is he tagging with Lance Storm?
Because Canada.
I do not remember any of this Chief Morley stuff. I don't remember him being Bischoff's right hand man or anything. I think I've blocked out that entire run from him.
So you're not a fan of it?
Not particularly. No, he's not that bad as a special guest ref here, though.
Well, I've actually got some bit of trivia from him for you.
Oh, hit me with it.
Well, after this little 2003 run, Chief Morley was relegated to the lower mid-card status due to some tension in the back with the Boyz. Rumour has it that Morley claims that his genitalia was of greater size than that of former wrestling great Andre the Giant. Several wrestlers took great issue with these comments.
Is he saying that his dick is bigger than Andre the Giant's dick? Or is he saying his dick is bigger than Andre the Giant in general?
No, bigger than Andre the Giant's dick.
Why did they take offence to that?
I have no idea. That's why I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, talk about hog wild.
He was just locked, cocked, and ready to unload.
Hello, ladies.
Do you reckon when the Boyz took, they took offence at that, they went out and found Kai En Tai and got them to choppy his pee-pee?
Well, that's a good segue, Kai En Tai. I've actually got another...
You keep cutting out, Nat.
Well, after... I've got some more trivia since Kai En Tai.
I'm not hearing him either, Brandon. I don't know.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
I think the government keeps... they don't want you to...
Can you hear me now?
This Kai En Tai. Trivia. Every time you go to say it, it cuts out.
Can you hear me?
It in.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Say Kai En Tai.
The Kai En Tai. Relating to that, Chief Morley, when he was released in 2009...
What the fuck?
Is it not working?
I just keep cutting out, man.
Give me a sec.
It'll cut back in.
While Matt sorts his shit out, Pricey, what did you think of this match?
A couple of little spots that were entertaining. 4 pretty good wrestlers. They're all pros. One thing I enjoyed, the 3 entrances, the Dudleys, RVD, Kane, they all had pyro, which makes it, you kind of miss seeing superstars come out and have pyro. It just makes that entrance that much, more special, I guess. And
I appreciate that they have one specific camera set up just for the Dudley's entrance.
Yeah. That shot from the pyro coming across the screen.
Oh, no, I was actually... There's that, but there's also... they have, a shot from, so they're walking out and it's behind them.
Do they?
Yeah, they have that shot there, and I don't recall this shot ever being used for anything other than the Dudley's entrance, and then sometimes it might be a promo package.
Actually, I might know. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Actually, Like it
But
follows
yeah.
them out. Is that what you're saying?
Pardon?
It follows them out from behind them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also
The Triple H has that.
does he? I just want to, because you brought up entrance music. I wanted to touch on RVD's music. It fucking sucks here.
Yeah. Like no lyrics. It's just like generic music.
I was about to get hype, and then when I didn't hear One of a Kind, I'm like, oh, what is this? I didn't realize this was a thing.
Very disappointing.
Nat, you seem to be back now.
Am I working?
We can hear you. You haven't cut out yet.
I'm not going to say the K word anymore.
Just say Funaki and Takamichinoku.
Well, relating to them, when he got released in 2009, Chief Morley toured Japan in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I did see that he spent some time in New Japan in their dark ages.
He went on to face Hiroshi Tanahashi.
I saw that match as well.
And I think he lost that, but I thought that was pretty cool. Like, who would wanted to see that?
I reckon that would have been a 5-star.
If it was in the Tokyo Dome, it would have been.
I'm glad you were able to get that that trivia out.
Man,
we were really trying to hold you
internet
down.
sucks.
I'll blame it on your bad laptop.
Yeah, Uncle Dave's probably watching a movie or something.
He's probably watching Kai En Tai as we speak.
Probably.
Speaking of trivia, I've got something here for you boys.
Ooh.
How many different tag team partners has Kane won tag titles with?
I actually had this thought during the match.
Ooh, X-Pac,
X-Pac won.
RVD,
Obviously, D-Bry.
yep, Mankind,
Taker.
Mankind, Taker,
Big Show.
Big Show. There's one more.
Jeez, this is going to be a tricky one, isn't it?
I mean, it could be a tough one, I guess.
Nah, I'm blanking. I can't think. I'm feeling like it's an early 2000s, maybe late 90s one.
Yeah, it is. I feel like this is one Nat would get, to be honest. You seem to like random tag teams.
I'm just having a good think about it. I'm not sure, but I'm just gonna say, nah, lay it out. I have no idea.
The Hurricane.
Oh yeah.
Wow,
Shit.
I forgot all about that.
They were literally called Hurricane.
Yeah. So, a little bit of a stat for you.
He's had so many tag partners. It's ridiculous.
It felt like RVD had more, but the three that he'd won tag titles with are Booker T, Kane, and Rey Mysterio.
Oh, I thought he won with Goldust for some reason.
I feel like Kane, RVD, Booker T, and Goldust all had a lot of random tag partners in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
They're just changing partners every second week.
So did Val Venus.
did he?
Well, I went through his Wikipedia and he was in a regular tag team with Viscera. No,
Surely not.
I think they were called V Squared.
Oh my god.
Wow.
And then he got injured, and then Viscera started teaming with Charlie Haas, so he came back, teamed with Snitsky.
So let's get back to the match quality here. Nat, what did you think of the match here?
I actually kind of like this a lot more than Meltzer. I thought Kane was. Is it just me or Kane was? He looked a bit slow.
I can't say that I particularly noted that. I'll save my thoughts on the match, but yeah, I didn't particularly notice that Kane was moving slowly.
I'll just get my star rating out of the way. I just gave a 2.5. I really like this.
Jeez, well, you boys might find it hard to believe, but I've kind of gone the opposite of you two here again. I didn't like this match. I thought it was not very entertaining. It was pretty sloppy. I think it gets a little bit more entertaining the longer it goes on, but yeah, I don't know. I didn't like it, and the finish to this match is just a complete clusterfuck.
I mean, this is why I've won 3 polls in a row.
You just have that typical Mark opinion, man. I appreciate true wrestling. and I appreciate trying to have a more interconnected and together Twitter wrestling community.
What's up, Rob?
Pricey, what did you think in terms of star ratings here?
I gave it a 2. I don't think it was that bad, but I had the other take match ahead of this one.
So the ending, for those who don't know of the match, Morley tries to clothesline RVD but misses and hits Bubba Ray Dudley. Devon then sees this and beats down Morley. This leads to Lance Storm running in and attacking Devon out of nowhere. He just flies in like a ninja. Then the Dudleys hit 3D on Morley. Kane chokeslams Bubba Ray, and then RVD hits the frog splash for the win. So much is just happening there. There's so many run-ins and shit. Like, I couldn't deal with it. I had to have my head on a swivel to keep up with it.
One thing I do love is the crowd calling the 3D right before it happens.
3D.
I do appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I also appreciate that throughout the whole match, the crowd just keep chanting, "We want tables." Every Dudley's match, they can't get away with it. Even when it's like, no, there's not going to be tables in this one. They want the damn tables. So, Nat, do you have anything else to say? You were cutting out a bit there, so you might have some notes you wanted to touch on.
No, not really.
Well, if you don't,
It's a good match.
We can head to backstage again to Stacey Keibler. Here she goes into the women's locker room and confronts Torrie Wilson. This ends up with Stacey attacking Torrie without letting her properly explain what was going on, and the women's locker room has to break it up. And here I just noted that I feel like backstage stuff like this kind of never happens on pay-per-view anymore. Like, do you find that? Like, I feel like at most we get backstage interviews and that's it.
Yeah, you might get like one segment. There's never like a running thread throughout the whole pay-per-view that you sort of see start to finish throughout the show. One thing I noted is King said, "Pull her hair, pull her top," while they were fighting. And I just like, it's just, I don't know. It's weird to hear nowadays.
Are they setting up like a bra and panties match between these two? Because I feel like the way like Stacey was attacking her is like what they were kind of alluding to.
I mean, they have one at WrestleMania 20.
Great match.
Pricey's favourite WrestleMania.
Yeah, you boys don't want to see my copy of WrestleMania 20.
Damn pervert. Just horny little Brody Price. Jacking his hog.
My childhood bedroom, man.
I'm just looking here. I don't think the Stacey Keibler feud with Torrie Wilson goes on because at the next pay-per-view, Torrie Wilson defeats Sable in a bikini challenge.
Maybe she found out that Sable was spreading the goss.
Stacey Keibler's just managing Scott Steiner and Test in a tag match with La Resistance.
It's the good stuff.
That's a great tag team.
So after that, we get Jazz defeating Trish Stratus via pinfall to win the WWE Women's Championship in 5 minutes and 50 seconds. Meltzer gives it 1 1/4 stars.
You feel me, boo?
I feel you, player, cause tonight the bitch is back and the bitch is black. Believe it.
Well,
Before the match, Teddy Long, who is managing Jazz here, cuts a promo, and it's, typical Teddy Long stuff. And then Jazz takes the microphone and says, "The bitch is back and the bitch is black. Believe that." I was in shock when I heard this. Firstly, because she said bitch twice, and then she said believe that. Ooh,
I didn't know that. That's how you spell believe that. I didn't know how you spelt it, but
I've seen enough people make fun of Roman on the internet to know that that's how you spell believe that. I think Roman needs to be sued for gimmick infringement here.
Yeah, he just blatantly ripped this off chat. He's gonna start calling himself the bitch. See? The big bitch.
I wish there was a visual on this podcast because I'm just doing the Superman punch. Pricey's doing the Superman punch to Sable, Torrie Wilson, and Stacey Keibler.
Just, no comment.
Hey, Pricey's seen those Playboy pics. Torrie Wilson's a tease.
Tease.
Oh, Test the scumbag. What do we think of this match?
I thought that surprisingly, I had a look and I figured this was going to get, a couple minutes and be the shortest match on the card, but there was 2 matches shorter than this, so they didn't get a lot of time, but at least they got more time than some matches. But probably should have went a little longer. I would have thought. I couldn't really get into it.
I liked this match, if I'm honest. I also wrote down Eric Bischoff forced Trish Stratus to wrestle. What did WorkSafe think about this?
I don't reckon they have WorkSafe in America, just quietly. Maybe if this was happening at Super Showdown.
In the MCG Tokyo Dome.
I think WorkSafe might have got involved in there, but I can't be doing that. You're going to have to big compensation payout. But in America, you just do whatever you want.
I also wrote that I did enjoy this match and showcased that Trish was getting better in the ring.
Yeah, I'm with you, Nat. Like, I actually really enjoyed this match. I did not expect to enjoy it going into it, but I think they do a pretty good job with very limited time. It definitely could have done with an extra few minutes.
Yeah.
I've seen way worse women's matches, so like seeing this in 5 minute and 50, basically 6 minutes, was pretty good, and like it had some pretty dope spots, like Jazz reversing Trish's like corner kind of head scissors spot into a Boston Crab. I thought that was actually like pretty sick.
I think she's a good wrestler.
Yeah, I've literally like I think my only match I've ever seen from Jazz is WrestleMania 19, so I've got very limited exposure to her. But yeah, I was impressed by this.
You're gonna have to go back and watch some of the bitches matches.
Yeah, well, she's dead now, so
I think we need to find where Jazz is. She's disappeared since 2004.
God, don't scare me like that, guys.
Jazz
many of those segments where Triple H was trying to find
what?
Jazz, Shawn Michaels.
What?
You know when Triple H was trying to find Shawn Michaels?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, we need those segments, but we do it and trying to find Jazz.
Do you reckon they'll put us on Raw?
Fuck, they better.
I just want to let you guys know that on July 2, 2018 on WrestlingInc.com, there was a report about Jazz on former WWE Diva refusing to shake her hand and Vince McMahon's reaction to her first pay-per-view match.
Yeah.
The Diva refusing to shake her hand was China.
Oh, what a dick.
Vince McMahon told her she did a great job in her first pay-per-view match versus Trish. So
nice.
Good on her, and she's not dead.
2 thumbs up.
This is a long article about Jazz, man. I'm not reading that. But yeah, I liked this match for the most part. The finish, Teddy Long gets involved in that. Trish hits Stratisfaction, and then this is for you, Pricey. This finish, Teddy nails her with a shoe to break up the pin.
Yeah, it's obviously we covered a match a couple of weeks ago, which ended in a DQ, but maybe the rules were more lenient in 2003, and a shoe isn't a disqualification. I'm not too sure.
Well, Lil Nate was refereeing here, so maybe he didn't want him to throw the match out like that. He wants to see a good contest.
Yeah, he wants the fans to get a pinfall or a submission finish.
I was just on the floor laughing that this is our 5th episode, and somehow we've managed to pick 2 shows that have ended with people throwing shoes for the finish.
I mean, who throws a shoe, honestly?
We really needed Matt Striker on commentary for this match.
100% he would have said, "Oh, Teddy Long's a real heel."
Yeah, we got nothing like that from Coach or King. It's very disappointing.
But I'm happy because the bitch is champ, And
she's also black.
The bitch is champ. The bitch is black.
Believe that. Teddy Long's baby girl Jazz.
Hopefully you can do a Teddy Long impression every week. I'd appreciate that.
I feel like Nat could do a good Teddy Long impression.
Well, hold on just a minute, player. It's the Mac Militant. Come on, Diggy Doe. Do you know all 3 of these were involved with Rodney? Oh, all two of them.
Mac.
Sorry.
Wow.
They were
Yeah,
stable, weren't they?
I think Jazz at the end of her career, she was managing Rodney Mack by herself.
Oh, what a
And
shame.
Teddy Long. I think, isn't this Teddy Long's actual Titantron? It says him and Rodney Mack.
Probably.
So thought that was irrelevant.
So is that all we have on the Jazz vs Trish Stratus match?
Yeah, I've said my shoe bit. So
Oh, actually, I've got a little. Wait, no, scrap that.
You're
Thought
all
I
over the
came
place
out.
tonight, man.
Thought I came up with some absolute genius, but no, I'll save it.
Save it for a rainy day.
Yeah, put it in the piggy bank.
So after the match, we cut backstage to Booker T and Shawn Michaels. They're chatting about the match, and then we cut to Kevin Nash, who says, do whatever you want during the match, but keep Triple H for me. We then get a recap of 2 weeks ago where Rey Mysterio embarrasses the Big Show. Then again on the go-home show for SmackDown, Rey Mysterio embarrasses him again, which leads into the Big Show defeating Rey Mysterio via pinfall in 3 minutes and 47 seconds. Meltzer gives this 1 star.
Oh, very innovative 619. And you see the Big Show, they're embarrassed in front of all these people. Millions at home watching, falling right on his butt. Yeah, this was this past week. Big Show had Tajiri defeated. Rey Mysterio would play mind games, and Big Show in pursuit as Mysterio would try to hide behind the steel steps.
Well, we knew Big Show wouldn't catch Mysterio unless he had like a Ferrari, but then out of nowhere, Rey Mysterio bips him, bing, and Big Show head first into that steel post.
And then he falls over the steel steps.
Oh, his leg tripped over the steel steps.
And Big Show embarrassed again at the hands of Rey Mysterio.
I just thought, before we get thoughts on the match, that this feud is dumb as fuck.
yeah, I thought I missed something. So the feud started because Ray was just clowning him.
Yeah, the feud happens because he embarrasses him. He does a 619 to him that makes him like fall over or something, and he's embarrassed. And then he makes him trip over the steel steps, and that's why the Big Show's angry.
Ray's dumb as shit. I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's a size difference between these two guys.
What?
Yeah.
Is that?
I don't know why he would pick a fight with the Big Show. He's much
I
bigger.
thought we were watching an episode of Tom and Jerry.
I didn't realize Rey Mysterio was such a prankster, and still, like, I saw this.
Always up to a bit of mischief, Ray.
Tripping him over. He should have set up some banana peels during this match.
But also, this was so short.
It was 3 minutes 47 seconds. Like, jeez. I thought we would have got a little bit longer out of that. Did you also notice that Ray has his own special platform to jump out of here?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yes.
Because clearly, like, it's just like a flat ramp here. There's no actual ramp, so he's just got to set up a nice little box that he clearly walked into and then jumped out of. That's commitment to the gimmick.
I mean, and again, like I said before with the entrances, it's just cool to see these little unique things that make it like Ray's entrance.
Yeah, like, I feel like today, if someone had an entrance like that, I don't think they'd go to the effort of having, like, that little setup there just so they could keep doing it. They'd just be like, oh, whatever, just go out, do a normal entrance, whatever. Man, bring back the unique stuff.
Bobby Roode has that thing that he stands on and it turns. So
I fucking hate that, by the way.
that's pretty cool, I guess.
He used it at one takeover and now he uses it for every entrance.
You don't get that on main event now.
Yeah?
I don't know. Just saying. Because he sucks.
I don't know if I've ever watched main event, so.
Hey, main event's pretty cool, probably. I don't think I've ever watched an episode.
Mojo versus Zack Ryder.
It's no afterburn.
Might tune in to watch Mike Kanellis one week.
Oh, Big Mike.
Oh, poor Mike Kanellis.
He deserves better.
So what do we think of the actual match here? Which is, it's not much of a match, but what do we think of it?
Yeah, just a little bit of banter between the two. Ray, like you've got it here, how he hits him with the chair. Like that's another thing. Like Eddie and Chavo were sort of the baby faces, but did heel stuff, and now Ray's hitting him with a chair when he's supposed to be the baby face.
He's a heel. Ray's a fucking piece of shit. What did Big Show didn't do anything to deserve that? What? Because he was tall.
Ray. That's not his fault.
Big Show's basically a heel here because he's tall.
Yeah.
Ray was being the dipshit, tripping him over.
He's just bullying him because he's big.
He's a heel.
Personally, I thought this was pretty entertaining for what it was. Clearly, it's not like set up as a proper match. It's more Ray just doing like silly, wacky antics until Big Show eventually catches him and gets the chokeslam. But yeah, I thought it was okay for what it was.
I just thought it was way too short, but we do get the iconic spot.
Yeah, that's what I had here. Like, with the match, it's like whatever. I think it's worth it just to get the iconic spot of Rey Mysterio getting picked up off the stretcher and then thrown into the ring post, which is this spot is so brutal.
Yeah, watching that back, like, I obviously thought it was bad when I was a kid, but watching it now, he had no way to break his fall, and he pretty much went head first, didn't he?
I can't believe they let him do that. He literally lands just head first, like straight down. I don't know how they convinced anybody to let them do that.
Do we know like what his condition was after this? Like, did he get cleared to wrestle on SmackDown or?
I'm not sure. I can see if he did.
Because that's pretty brutal, and I 100% he would be tested for concussion and things like that. Nowadays, I doubt he would have wrestled for at least a week or two.
He would have had to have had a concussion from that, at the
100%.
very least. Like when I saw where he landed, I'm like, surely he's broken his nose or something here.
Yeah, I don't know how he didn't get injured worse than what he was.
But yeah, like that's real commitment to this. I think they had him sit off TV for a while, actually. So I'm looking at here, he wrestles April 27th at Backlash, and then he doesn't appear in a match until May 20th on SmackDown. So maybe I don't know if it's like kayfabe, because like he was supposed to be pretty fucked up. Like they kept talking about his condition updates. But yeah, at least he got to sit off working for a while.
Get paid to do nothing, that's the dream.
Then he came back and he beat Crash Holly and Shannon Moore in a triple threat elimination match. And then his next match, he beat Matt Hardy for the Cruiserweight title.
Woohoo! Strap the rockets to him.
Wow. Do you just get thrown around like a rag doll and then you just winning belts?
Do we have star ratings for this match?
I gave it 1 because I just thought it was too short. Like, the actual match was, pretty quick and all that, but it was mainly the post-match that was like iconic and everyone wanted to see and everyone remembers.
Yeah.
If I was like in a Dave Meltzer position, I probably wouldn't even rate this match. I would probably take it kind of like when Shinsuke defeated Jeff Hardy in like 5 seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
Meltzer usually treats that as like, it was just more of a way to push the feud forward rather than an actual match, which I feel like that's kind of the same situation here. It's more to make Big Show look pretty like fucking crazy for what he does to Ray. So yeah, I don't think I'd rate it. I think it's good for what it is, but yeah. What do you think now?
I just gave it 1. Just wish it went longer, because it's not like I hate it, but just because it was so short.
So after that match, we go to backstage with Lilian Garcia interviewing Triple H, Ric Flair, and Chris Jericho. Jericho has an ugly as fuck mustache here for some reason, and Triple H looks like a goober with absolutely no facial hair. But overall, I thought that this promo was actually pretty funny. We've got a real solid combo of personalities here, and it's obvious that Triple H and Jericho are having a lot of fun, like
Vivian
basically
Garcia
dicking around.
Yeah, I love that when Jericho just gets every interviewer's name wrong. That's it never gets old. And I enjoyed it as well, and I have that down as well. The facial hair between Jericho and Triple H is just
Jericho just has no idea what looks good, does he?
I don't think so.
Like all of his looks are just so like, you can't possibly think that's good, man. Like the fedora he wore in New Japan recently. Dude's just lost the plot. But yeah, they were clearly just like taking the piss with this promo, and there's a moment where Triple H like tries pretty hard not to just crack up laughing.
I noticed that actually.
But yeah, we cut backstage again to Stacey and Torrie, who are going at it. Scott Steiner sees Stacey get hit on the head, and he helps her out by carrying her off about 3 steps before Test runs over and kind of stops him from doing that and berates Stacey for doing that. This is setting up the GOAT feud, which is Test and Scott Steiner, which really culminates at Unforgiven 2003.
I just had here that Stacey needed to rest up in a Steiner recliner.
I'm just gonna say, was that container falling on Stacey's head? Was that kayfabe or was that a shoot?
I reckon
pretty good.
I reckon that had to be kayfabe, surely.
I don't know.
Otherwise, I don't think she was hurt enough to require Scott Steiner stealing her away like a fucking pervert. But yeah, so we get that little bit, and that's gonna plant the seeds for one of the great feuds of all time. But now it brings me to a section of the pay-per-view where they promote the Backlash 2003. Man, Pricey, you got to tell me a little bit about Backlash's theme for this year. I know we've mentioned it a fair bit, but just tell me a little bit about it.
Nathan sort of jumped the gun a little bit, but a special shout out to Cold for their song Remedy off their album Year of the Spider, available May 13th, where all good music things are sold. That's it.
May 13th. We were getting a little early taste here.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the greatest album of all time. I'm not sure. No, it is. It definitely is. I think everyone should go back and check it out if they haven't listened to it already. One of the better ones.
Honestly, it's in my top 2 with John Cena. My Time Is Now.
Yeah,
mine's the R-Truth album.
Ooh,
that's a good one. I'm just gonna have a look here, see if Year of the Spider is available for purchase at JB Hi-Fi. Oh, it's so fresh. 15 years of the greatest hits. No, I don't think it's available.
Wonder if Cold is still doing their thing.
I hope so.
Should go to their concert if they
were the true WWE's favorite band in the whole world.
It says they're still active. So
Cold Biscuit.
Okay, so we now have come to the WWE Championship match, which sees Brock Lesnar defeating John Cena in 15 minutes and 14 seconds. Meltzer gives this match 1.25 stars.
Yo, the list of legends that held the title now include me, bro. I'll be a better champion than Bruno Sammartino.
And as I alluded to earlier, I mentioned about the tournament and how Cena got to the final. He was getting a hell of a push because he beat Eddie Guerrero, Undertaker, and Chris Benoit in successive weeks. And as I mentioned, I have a little update on The Undertaker. During Cena and Taker's match, the FBI attack Taker. And
bloody hell,
that allows Cena to win. I just want to know, is this the original version of the Nexus burying The Undertaker?
Bloody well close to it. Got a whole hunk of big names.
Why the fuck did the FBI attack Undertaker?
Nunzio was running a pretty tight ship and he wanted to make it to the top.
That just seems so random. Did they even go anywhere with this?
I highly doubt they did.
I reckon Taker probably just squashed them all. Palumbo and was it Palumbo and Stamboli?
It would have been. There was a big Jack dude there, so I assume that was Big
Guido. That's Big Guido.
Was it? I wasn't paying attention.
I'm just trying to see if Undertaker was not on Judgment Day 2003, so I'm going to assume that the FBI put him out of action.
Damn, they put him out for good. Maybe he was in a vegetative state.
Hey, when you got Big Chuck Palumbo, anything's possible. So what do we think of this match?
I liked it. I didn't mind it. It was better than what I expected from a John Cena who'd only been in the company about a year, and Brock Lesnar's still pretty new at this point. It probably helped with the blood and I don't know. I liked Cena's rapping gimmick. I'm a fan.
I think we're all big fans of Cena's rapping gimmick.
Yeah, for sure.
He was one of the most universally loved guys at that point.
It's just I love a pre-match rap. There's not enough of those going around today.
And he's wearing a fucking do-rag.
He is.
What the fuck was that? That was. It just looks so weird seeing him wear that.
And he's in full heel mode here because he does a rap, and then he gets heaps of heel heat because he's wearing Yankees gear in Massachusetts. Apparently he's turned his back on Massachusetts. Like, what's the go here, Cena?
I'm just gonna say, while we're watching the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards, it's a little green here. A lot of slime. John Cena and Brock Lesnar, just too green.
Are you saying Brock Lesnar is green here?
Yep.
Go fuck yourself.
Lesnar looks as strong here as he does now, to be honest.
Yeah.
But Cena was definitely not ready for this 2003. Like, shit. And it's,
Cena
his match is way too long.
Yeah, I had here.
It's 15 minutes.
I thought that, like, it was really slow. There was so much laying around and rest holds. Like, considering the kind of stuff Cena and Lesnar can do, they're pretty intense in the ring. I was expecting way more, but instead there was, like, a bunch of just, like, rear chin locks and stuff.
You don't like rear chin locks?
Oh, not in a Brock Lesnar versus John Cena match. Especially in 2003, I'm like, fuck, Cena's going to go all out here. Lesnar's going to do some crazy shit.
I just want to see Suplex City.
Yeah, maybe that's what I liked about it, was the fact that it wasn't Lesnar suplexing him for 10 minutes straight and then hitting an F5.
You make a good point.
It was a bit different.
I actually thought, like, personally, I didn't think the match was that great, but, like, just watching, like, the promo package for it and stuff, it seemed like this feud was pretty good for what's just a filler feud for Brock to get into something else. Like, I really thought that it was, like, pretty intense, even though apparently, according to the history that I've put up there, that they only really faced each other on the Go Home SmackDown, but still haven't seen a bust him open using the old chain. It's pretty good, and then it leads to him busting him open on the show. I just feel like they couldn't put it together for the match.
Yeah, I agreed.
So what do you reckon for star ratings here?
I've given it 2.
I'll go 2.25.
I think maybe 2. There's too much going on in this match that I dislike. Like, Cena makes a lot of really goofy facial expressions while he's, like, locking in headlocks and stuff here. He looks like a ding-dong.
I mean, that's just Cena, though, isn't it?
What's that?
That's just Cena in general, isn't it? Doesn't he always do that?
I don't know. These were, like, on a different level, I reckon. I was like, what's he doing here? He's really, like, pushing his gum out of his mouth. Like, I don't know. It was weird. I think if this didn't have the, like... Because I feel like it's a bit of a spectacle to watch Cena and Lesnar have a match in 03, especially because, like, we know what they become now and, like, the matches that they've had in recent-ish years. I feel like it gets boosted because of that spectacle, like, going back and, like, oh, this is a bit of a novelty.
Yeah, that's true.
And, like, if it didn't have that, I feel like I would be more down on it.
I'll just a couple little points here. Cena's boots. What the fuck?
Oh yeah, they were terrible.
I hated them.
They're actually very distracting.
Thank God he switched to sneakers. The championship. That's my favorite WWE championship design of all time.
100%, man. 100%.
Yeah, gotta agree with you.
Like, that's just so iconic. Eddie winning the title, like, that title was just ingrained in my memory. And I believe it was Michael Cole who said at the end of the match, one day Cena may join that rank of champions. He got that one wrong, didn't he?
Man, what a spoiler.
What a fuckhead. Why would he think that?
Yeah, I know. Who would ever think this Cena kid would ever go anywhere?
I can't see it.
So the match ends when Cena attempts to use his chain. The ref stops him, and then Lesnar gets him up for the F5 and gets the win. I actually thought the finish was actually pretty shitty. Like, it made Cena kind of look like a bit of a goober. But after that, we move on to a promo package recapping the feud between Jericho, Flair, Triple H, Booker T, Nash, and Shawn Michaels. This has the banger from Cold, which I'm sure you boys were just like shredding the air guitar during this.
I was just busting it up.
Yeah, the pages of the old Backlash 2003, they're a little bit sticky.
Yeah, I've already broken the new MacBook.
Wow. On a more serious note, I thought this actually was a pretty sick promo package. I feel like in general the team making the promo packages at this time were on fire. Surely I'm not the only one that thinks that.
I think
this is probably the last few years where they have really good packages.
I think WWE always does a good job, like making things look better than they are. Like there's some feuds, like I'll go into a pay-per-view, jeez, this build-up's been terrible. But you watch the package before the match, they always do a decent job and make it look better than what it is, I think.
I joke about it, but the Scott Steiner Test promo package from Unforgiven 03 is legitimately like one of the best examples of that. That's not a great feud, and the match quality is not great either. But you watch that promo package and you're like, holy shit, is this like a main event level feud? Like, is this going to be a 5-star match?
Look, guilty pleasure. I listened to that fucking Cold song, Suffocate, and all I fucking have a picture is Scott Steiner and Test and Stacey Keibler.
Man, I have it on my phone. I have it saved on Apple Music because it's a banger.
Just because of that, how good they made that package.
I was literally watching that promo before we started recording. It is so good. The Test and Scott Steiner one.
I don't know how they got such a great promo out of that. Like, just full credit to their team. I give them 5 stars.
Oh, mate, not even in the Tokyo Dome. They actually deserve it.
So our next match is Chris Jericho, Ric Flair, and Triple H defeating Booker T, Kevin Nash, and Shawn Michaels via pinfall. Just classic Triple H, like going over everyone, you know?
That's how the business works, brother.
You know, man, he's got to bury everybody from WCW, you know?
Well, yeah, we need to know who won the Monday night.
This match goes 17:51, and Meltzer gives it 2.5 stars.
Oh, my God! Kevin Nash. Oh, Triple H. Oh, Triple H has got the sledgehammer. Triple H got the sledgehammer. Just once again proving he'll do whatever it takes. Lilian's former best friend. Triple H is no red. There's the ref. Triple H just nailed his former best friend, Kevin Nash. That's it. He got me. That's it.
What did we think of this match here? It's a bit of a random one thrown together, a 6-man tag. When I first saw that we're doing Backlash 2003, I was assuming that we'd have Triple H defending his title against someone, but instead we got this.
Yeah, I'm assuming that on the Raw side, they assumed that Rock Goldberg was big enough for as their main event that they didn't have to have a world title match, I assume. Would that be the reason?
Yeah,
they can sort of get all 6 guys on the card. Even though it's like a dual brand, they can get all 6 on the card.
Yeah, and it's like building up Goldberg to get to the championship.
Imagine if they did like have Triple H just defending his title like one-on-one. Like, this card would have been stacked. It means like Jericho, Michaels, and Booker T like could have been free to do something else. That would have been a real stacked card.
Yeah, there's plenty of talent.
That's what I had here. Like, there's a ridiculous amount of talent in this match.
I'll be honest, I would have liked this to be the main event.
Nah, after watching it, there's so much talent in this match, but I reckon it just didn't work out here for whatever reason.
I'm a big fan of this match.
Yeah, well, you're an Evolution, Mark, so... Damn, Mark.
Me? No.
Hey, you're going to be tuning in for the reunion on SmackDown, aren't you?
Oh, man. I only watch SmackDown exclusively, so I'm going to bust.
There won't be a dry eye in the house when those boys...
I thought Batista was on their bad books,
According to who?
According to everyone on the internet.
A bunch of marks.
Oh, you know, you can only trust the boys at Wrestle Hunks Podcast. Everybody else is just telling fibs.
Exactly right.
We mentioned earlier, just terrible wrestling themes. Ric Flair's and Booker T's themes here are fucking garbage. And the worst one is, what's the go with Booker T's? He didn't have that terrible theme at WrestleMania 19. But a month later, he has some random theme.
I'm trying to remember what it was. I can't remember it.
Oh, it's so bad.
I think I know what you're talking about.
It's so bad.
So I'll quickly bring up Backlash and I'll listen to it while you guys talk.
But yeah, like, even Ric Flair's theme there is so, like, actually...
It's his WCW one, isn't it?
Ric Flair's. It might be.
Yeah.
I'm actually seeing some trivia here about Booker T's theme, if I can get it up. Apparently, I don't know if this can be trusted, that the DVD version replaced Booker T's music to an instrumental version of Can You Dig It?
Oh, there you go.
I don't know if this is to be trusted. I'm looking on IMDb, and I have no idea if that's correct or not, but potentially that might be why he has a terrible, terrible theme. I'm just stunned by that at the moment. Did you guys notice that Shawn Michaels is the only guy in this match that didn't work WCW? Just thought that was a neat little tidbit there.
I didn't know.
I didn't realize that because I'm not fucking boring.
Wow.
I don't live in the past.
Come on, man. Respect WCW.
WCW. Wrestling.
Yeah, I'm listening to Booker's theme now. That is the shit. Like, yeah, no good. I didn't pick that up.
I've got a little wrestling forum up here, and somebody goes, "Why the hell is Booker T's theme music dubbed over at Backlash 2003?" And then he adds in here, "More importantly, why the hell am I watching Backlash 2003?"
That's exactly my reaction.
But someone replied to him, they probably used the DVD version. They went through a weird phase around that time where they didn't want to pay for the rights to Rap Sheet, which is Booker T's theme, and dubbed over it with this really terrible remake that was also used in WrestleMania 18 for GameCube. Jesus.
There's some good trivia.
Cheapskates at the WWE. So enough about themes. What did we think about the actual match?
I thought it should have been the main event on Raw. It shouldn't have been on a pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's
100%. This has got Raw main event written all over it, not fucking pay-per-view match.
But yeah, maybe they didn't want to waste Triple H Nash on the first pay-per-view post-Mania. They wanted to sort of drag it out a little bit. I'm not too sure, but yeah, I didn't think it belonged.
Maybe they actually wanted to ease Kevin Nash into it this time instead of throwing him back in there and having him get injured straight away.
Yeah, definitely could be a possibility.
Because I remember when he tore his quad, apparently the idea was to have him come back on live shows and get back into ring shape or whatever. And instead they're just like, nah, fuck it, be in this main event, and then tears his quad. So at least this way he doesn't have to work a full singles match and can, kind of just ease back into it, get Shawn and Booker T to, carry him a little bit.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's true. I get that.
But yeah, overall, this match just doesn't work. I don't know. It's got poor pacing. There's really not that many memorable spots. I don't know. It just didn't work for me.
Well, I disagree. I liked it. I rate this match. I gave it 3 stars, and I just like the collection of characters. This is just, I don't know, just it fit well with what I like.
What about you, Pricey? What did you think about this?
No, I just wanted the main event to be on at this point.
Of course you did, mate.
Just Triple H through this 2003 period where he's wearing coloured trunks and he's had no facial hair. Just really weird era for Triple H.
It's a dark time.
What the fuck is he wearing purple trunks for?
Hey, those were the trunks that he wore in SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, so...
Yeah, I don't know.
They were iconic for me and Nat.
They're the best.
They should make a comeback this Saturday at the MCG.
I hope so.
What did you think about the finish? For those listening that don't know, Triple H used the sledgehammer on Nash to get the win. But before that, like, they spend like 10 minutes brawling outside the ring like everyone, and I had no idea who was legal.
Once again, it's a raw match.
I think, just like I don't know, like the referee didn't even know what to do during it. Like, shouldn't they have been counted out?
It was a bit of a mess.
Just classic Triple H, being absolute garbage in 2003.
It's a bit of a mess, just like Pricey was after the main event.
So I think that just about does us for the 6-man tag. But before we move on, I wanted to just get your thoughts on, do you wish that Kevin Nash's run in the WWE worked out better? Because really it was just plagued with injuries and then less than stellar matches.
Nathan, you can give your thoughts.
Well, yes, I think it was pretty shitty. He got injured and he had that he had that first run with the NWO, and then they had the second shitty NWO with X-Pac and whatever.
Were there two WWE NWOs?
They have that X-Pac, Booker T, Big Show, Shawn Michaels.
Oh, that's an NWO you can set your watch to.
But probably everything is shit until we get to the Triple H Kevin Nash.
You're talking about Triple H Kevin Nash in like 2014 or 2013?
No, definitely not. God, no. I have forgotten about that.
It was a good little run there. Fucking Kevin Nash texting himself.
Don't remind me.
What was that?
Do you remember what the text was?
No.
Oh, what was it?
I thought
WTF, WTF, Kevin Nash, OMG, thought he was dead, LOL. Is that what we're talking about?
That's Punk's sister's text.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
I can't believe they saddled Punk with that fucking Kevin Nash Triple H feud.
That was like when he was white hot as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was during like his like hottest run, when he just after the pipe bomb and all that.
Summer of Punk. Yeah. Anyway, let's not talk about that.
Yeah, the less said about Kevin Nash in the WWE, the better, to be honest. So we then cut to, is this Terry interviewing The Rock? I didn't double check this. I just assumed it was Terry.
It is.
Yeah, I've got it up right now. It is.
I'm shocked that she was still in the company in 2003.
She's gone not long after.
She's interviewing The Rock here, and she is an awful interviewer. But what I have here is The Rock is real horny in this promo. Like, he's just I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going on with him, but if he had a copy of Backlash 2003 on DVD, the couple would be a little bit sticky.
One of the things he says is that what does he say? The only thing The Rock hasn't done is make a white baby.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this promo really, a lot. I thought it was very funny.
Yeah, that's what I had here. I was like, The Rock is on fire with this promo. He's just, that's vintage Rock. As cliche as it is to say.
His impression of Goldberg is just out of this world.
Yeah, this
Nathan,
is like...
do you want to have a go at it, Nat? Or?
I'd rather not. No. Don't put me on the spot like that.
Oh, sorry.
But like, this is the kind of Rock that I like. I felt like when he came back in whatever year it was that he came back, like he was just doing like a shitty impression of this kind of Rock. I don't know. I just didn't find him as funny as like this kind of thing.
No, I agree. I agree with you 100%. I hate The Rock.
Like he's. You hate The Rock just in general?
I hate The Rock when he comes back in the WWE. I love all.
Did you enjoy The Rock in The Tooth Fairy? 'Cause I watched that
I don't know about you
on the
guys, but
weekend, and
it was on the other
stellar.
night.
Yeah, I watched it. It was so good.
I actually like that movie.
That's
I
so
hate
bad,
that I
man.
like it. I like it. I'm not a great movie guy, but
All right, so next up, we've got Brody Price's wet dream. Goldberg making his debut in the WWE, defeating The Rock via pinfall in 13 minutes and 3 seconds. Meltzer gives this 1.25 stars.
Whoa, 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 whoa. First and foremost, oh, lemon panties, giggle panties, The Rock has done it all. The only thing The Rock hasn't done is make a white baby. Yeah, you smell, hey, and on top of that, well, The Rock says this. You know, Goldberg, what is The Rock afraid of Goldberg? The Rock ain't afraid of nobody. Why? What's The Rock gonna be afraid of Goldberg about? What's Goldberg gonna do? Is that what Goldberg is gonna do to The Rock?
well, I have on the end of that. I have
What did you have? You cut out again, man.
insert Brody Price nutting here.
Yeah, fair point. Do you want me to go now? Do you want to give my thoughts? Or
Sure, I'll just go for it, man.
initial thoughts were just like about The Rock. Like his Hollywood Rock stuff is just really good. His entrance. I was pretty jet up watching just The Rock, and like I was excited to see him more than anything watching it.
Yeah, I have here, The Rock's Hollywood theme is personally, for me, the best theme in history. I love that. And little bit of a fun fact here. Did you know that some of the shots used in his intro are used in The Miz's entrance now?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Like the
feel like
shots
you've
of the
said that to me
city
before.
that the Miz has in his entrance are taken straight from that. It's a little
the more
fun
you
fact
know.
for you. But yeah, I could completely agree about the Hollywood Rock, Pricey.
Yeah. But then the big dog just smashing his head on the door, walking out all jacked up. He's just a big hoss, just ready to rock and roll. I was excited.
I imagine that when Goldberg his pyro goes off, that's kind of like what's happening to you when you see Goldberg make an appearance.
Yeah, there's sparklers, absolutely.
You're throwing punches and kicks while your hog is just fucking shooting flames.
Little story quickly about so that SummerSlam 2003. Do you guys remember him botching his entrance at SummerSlam 2003?
Nah.
No, I don't.
Throws a kick. I'm pretty sure it's SummerSlam. He throws like one of those kicks and like slips over. I just thought that was part of his entrance because that was the first match I ever saw. I'm like, pretty sick. Don't know what he's doing, dancing or something. But, yeah. But yeah, one of the better entrances of all time, I think. Bill Goldberg.
Do you boys want a little fun fact about The Rock here?
Of course I do.
He's only had 7 matches since this night, and it's only 6 if you don't count his match with Eric Rowan. So this is like basically the last match The Rock really has properly. Because when he comes back, it's like when he comes back, it's whatever. He's not as good, and then the only other match he has in like this time period is the one at WrestleMania 20, which I've actually never seen that. Maybe Pricey can fill me in on whether that match is any good.
Not the greatest. Orton goes over, so
Orton, I
Nathan will
suppose.
like it.
So I nutted in that match.
Yeah, that was for you, that one.
But I'd still take the Eric Rowan match over this one.
Oh,
Jesus.
Bit of tension over the airwaves.
I'd completely forgotten that was even a match before I looked up how many matches he'd had after this night.
that shouldn't count.
Actually, I remember this one off the top of my head as well. Do you want to know, to take a guess at who The Rock's last opponent on Raw was?
Hurricane?
Close. You got anything, Nat?
Eugene.
Nah. It was actually, believe it or not, Jeff Hardy.
What?
He wrestles Jeff Hardy before Backlash.
Jeez.
Well, there you go.
So what an honour for Jeff.
Pretty lucky man.
I don't know whether you guys noticed it here, but I feel like it's clear that The Rock knows that he's going away from the WWE for a while, and he's just like, I don't know, kind of just having fun. Like, even with his entrance and like kind of the stuff he does in the ring here, it's like he's kind of just having fun, like not really taking it that seriously.
Yeah. It's not. It's more about the story-ish. Not much the wrestling.
Yeah, because like even with his entrance, like I don't know, it's not a typical entrance. He's like doing a lot of weird shit. I kind of just took that as The Rock being like, oh, this is the last time I'm probably going to be doing this for a very long time. So I don't know, just have as much fun as possible. For the match quality wise, I thought this is really just a spectacle, kind of a lesser version of The Rock and Hogan at WrestleMania 18. It's not at all about what's going on in the ring. It's more about the craziness of seeing Goldberg in WWE and Goldberg against The Rock.
You've got a little a note there mentioning Goldberg's gear. And I didn't know how marky to get about it, but so I went back to watch Backlash when I was a kid because I watched from SummerSlam onwards. I thought, what the fuck kind of gear is that, Goldberg? How cheap are you, man? Get a real pair of tights, will you?
I didn't realize he wore his WCW kind of tights in WWE at all, because I've only ever seen when he starts wearing the longer trunks instead of wearing the jocks.
Yeah, the jocks. Yeah. Also, something I've never noticed until watching this. He has some like Roddy Strong level small boots.
Shitty little boots.
He has tiny little boots. Get some bigger boots, man.
I kind of like the gear. I'm kind of a little bit nostalgic for it, but also, I don't know, I'm also nostalgic for his WWE kind of tights.
Yeah. No, yeah. Even as a kid, I was like, no, those tights are shit. Like, get the other ones, man. But I don't know, for some reason, the boots never stood out to me until this match.
I'm sure Nat hated the WCW tights because he had a wrestling figure of the WWE Goldberg.
That was actually yours, mate.
Was that mine?
That was yours.
Oh, jeez. I don't even like Goldberg. Why did I get that?
Hey, watch your mouth.
Waste my money. I could have bought Colin Delaney.
Did he have a little bit of blood on his forehead from banging his head on the door, Goldberg?
Not that I noticed, but you're the Goldberg expert here, so...
It wasn't a lot. I feel like it was just a small amount.
When the match started, I was like initially like thinking that we're going to get a WrestleMania 20 situation here, because they do a lot of like taunting and shit. Like, did you feel that like it was sort of in a way similar to Brock and Goldberg at Mania 20?
I thought all of that was probably just Goldberg can't get a long match, done. But,
that's what I thought.
Just padding for time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, either way.
I also noticed Goldberg did get like in a few spots. It wasn't like consistent throughout the match, but there were a few spots where he gets heavy boos.
Yeah, I wrote down, this is for Nat, that The Rock's shitting on him, but he's shitting ice cream. But that didn't get as big a reaction as I was hoping.
Pricey.
So the finish of the match, it sees Goldberg spearing The Rock after he kicks out of the people's elbow, which was really weird. Like, The Rock hits the people's elbow, and then he's somehow like slower to get up than Goldberg, and then gives The Rock a couple spears, a jackhammer, and wins. I thought the finish was actually pretty average, and overall my thoughts on the match were that it was probably one of the weaker ones on the card. Again, just like the Cena Lesnar match, it's more kind of about the spectacle. But when you think about it in terms of in-ring stuff, it's not great. What did you boys think about it?
I just found it very slow, pushing time.
God, you keep cutting out that, man.
I can't help it. The internet's too bad.
The damn Kai En Tai mention, it's just throwing us in
it's
disarray.
just, I found the match very slow. They were pushing for time.
What did you think, Pricey?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that the crowd was sort of turning on Goldberg a little bit. I think they were just really hot for The Rock. I mean, it's hard to boo The Rock. So, yeah, I think they made it sort of tough on Goldberg coming in and having to wrestle him. But, like you mentioned, it's just for the spectacle, and it was nice of The Rock to sort of put him over on his way.
It's always nice to see someone put over the young guys, you know?
Yeah, just like The Rock put over Eric Rowan, like we mentioned.
And now Eric Rowan's, he's gone on to bigger and better things.
Former tag team champion. He has a hammer now, so he's doing well for himself.
All right, so I think we can probably agree that this card, without going into too much detail at the moment, we think it's probably not a great WWE pay-per-view. Is that safe to say?
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah. Okay.
So I wanted to get your thoughts on how it was possible that the WWE puts on one of their most consistent and well-booked and even critically acclaimed WrestleManias just a month before, yet Backlash is overall probably a bit of a stinker.
I don't know, you lose Stone Cold, and what do you do after that?
Yeah, that definitely does hurt them.
Yeah. Just replace him with another ball guy.
I just feel like WrestleMania 19 has so much going for it, and then losing Stone Cold does hurt a bit, and then the McMahon Hogan match is such a big part of the card, and they're nowhere to be found here. I don't know, you shouldn't be able to drop off in quality that much after what they did with WrestleMania 19.
Nathan?
I'm just scared. I'm scared I'm gonna cut out.
Just go for it.
No, this pay-per-view sucks, and well, I haven't got much else to say about it other than if they had have got rid of the Rey Mysterio match and then added the World Heavyweight title, maybe it would have been better.
What do you boys think was match of the night here? I feel like this is a bit of a tricky one to pick, especially based on how you guys rated the matches.
If I just go off what I rated, how I enjoyed them, what I enjoyed most, Rock Goldberg for the nostalgia, but the match I actually enjoyed the most was the opener. I really enjoyed seeing Los Guerreros and Team Angle, personally.
What about you, Nat?
I'm going to go with the semi-main, the six-man tag.
I think just scrolling through the card here, I think the opener is my favourite too here. I think that was my match of the night, which it's a solid match, but it's not something you want to be your match of the night. I think everything else on the card kind of disappointed me, except Shawn O'Haire beating Rikishi.
That was the surprise packet of the pay-per-view.
I was genuinely surprised by Shawn O'Haire.
He's a big boy.
So what do we reckon for worst match of the night?
Shawn O'Haire versus Rikishi for me.
Come on, man. It wasn't that bad.
Out of all the matches, that was the one I was least invested in.
Come on. Shawn O'Haire teaming up with Rowdy Roddy Piper as his mentor. You can't go wrong.
The best backstage segment of the night was Stacey throwing a tiny plate.
Mine was Kane giving a pep talk to RVD.
Yeah, that was something.
That was the thing that happened.
Yeah, definitely.
My worst match of the night is easily Kane RVD versus the Dudleys. Just did not feel it at all. I think that just about does us for Backlash 03 then, which leads us into the aftermath of this show. After Backlash, The Rock left the WWE to focus on his acting career. Due to The Rock leaving, Goldberg had to begin a new feud, which happened to be against Chris Jericho. This started on the April 28 episode of Raw during a segment in Jericho's highlight reel. During the segment, Jericho stated that no one wanted Goldberg in WWE, which sparked this feud. So they basically go on until Goldberg is done with him and kind of works his way into the title picture, which I'm sure Pricey was ecstatic about.
Definitely. Why wouldn't I be?
Hey man, Unforgiven 2003. Iconic moment. Him holding the belt upside down.
I've never forgiven him for that, to be honest.
Fucking dipshit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, him chasing the world title is what got me into wrestling, so we should all be thankful.
I thank Goldberg every day for that. Over on the SmackDown side, Brock Lesnar, after being done with Cena, started a feud with The Big Show. It began on the May 1 episode of SmackDown, where Lesnar cut an in-ring promo against Big Show, stating that he was a coward for defeating Rey Mysterio at Backlash. I don't really know if that makes him a coward. He was just doing his job. He's there to win.
Why do they keep trying to make him cool for being big?
It's not his fault he was born big.
They're all born.
He has a disorder, a genetic disorder.
Be a star, WWE. So Big Show appears later on the stage and challenges Lesnar to a WWE Championship match. The following week on SmackDown, it's announced that the Big Show would face Lesnar at Judgment Day in a stretcher match because Rey was slung into that pole, I guess. Later that night, the feud escalated during a handicap match between Chris Benoit and the team of the Big Show and A-Train. Not sure why Benoit is in this handicap match, but poor guy. It's probably the worst night of his life outside of the that fateful day.
You just can't help it.
But yeah, that leads us to Judgment Day, where Lesnar defeats the Big Show in that stretcher match that I don't even recall ever happening. Back over on the Raw side, the aftermath of the six-man tag involved Kevin Nash and Triple H finally going into a singles feud. During a tag match for the World Tag Team Championship involving Triple H and Ric Flair facing Kanan and RVD, Triple H attempted a pinfall on RVD, but Nash came down to the ring and chased Triple H to the backstage area with a sledgehammer. Triple H then ran towards a limousine where Nash smashed the windows with the sledgehammer and threw it into the limo as Triple H drove off. The following week, co-Raw general managers Stone Cold and Eric Bischoff announced a World Heavyweight Championship match between Nash and Triple H at Judgment Day, and at Judgment Day, Triple H was disqualified to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. And I've got here the pay-per-view card for Judgment Day, which it's got some interesting matches. Are you boys looking at the opening match here?
Spanky.
Chuck Palumbo, John Cena, and Johnny Stamboli. So apparently Cena's teaming up with the FBI here. They defeat Chris Benoit, Rhino, and Spanky. This is such a random match.
That's almost just, we have to watch that for them.
Yeah, like, I want to watch this now just to see that opener.
You guys have never seen that match?
Never.
No.
Treat yourself.
It only goes 3 minutes and 58 seconds.
Yeah. Some of the best action you'll see in 4 minutes.
The next match on the card is La Resistance defeating Scott Steiner and Test. We then get Eddie Guerrero and Tajiri defeating Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin in a ladder match for the tag titles.
Yes. No, that's what we wanted.
Do you guys remember this?
I don't remember this at all.
I think we need to watch this eventually.
Go back, watch the promo before that match with Tajiri and Eddie. Incredible.
Why is he with Tajiri?
Oh, it'll be explained when you watch the movie.
I like Tajiri.
It's so good. So good.
We then get a Battle Royal for the Intercontinental Championship, which Christian wins. Val Venus is in that. And I'm sure he's in there as Morley, but it's listed here as Val Venus, so... Also, Test is in that. Test is pulling double duty.
Damn.
That's probably where he died.
So he would have he's getting that money.
As I mentioned earlier, we then got Torrie Wilson defeating Sable in a bikini contest. We get Mr. America defeating Roddy Piper. Kevin Nash defeating Triple H by disqualification, as we mentioned. Jazz defeating Jacqueline, Trish Stratus, and Victoria to retain her Women's Championship. And Lesnar defeating the Big Show. I just got here in my notes. We'll definitely be reviewing this pay-per-view at some point, won't we?
Yep.
I hope so.
That seems dog shit.
Just based on, like, the first 3 matches on the card, it's something we definitely need to watch.
I don't think you can put Eddie and Tajiri against Team Angle in the worst category. Trust me, it's very good. Very
Yeah,
good
but
stuff.
we've also got Torrie Wilson bikini contest, Mr. America wrestling Roddy Piper.
I'm impartial to a good bikini contest.
This pay-per-view is the perfect storm for Wrestle Hunks.
Well, Nathan needs to put in a poll at 1 week, and I'm sure it'll win.
Yeah, one week we need to have Nat throw it up, and it'll definitely take it home.
Yeah, for sure.
Everything wins.
So that just about does it for this episode. Thanks for listening to the Wrestle Hunks podcast. You can find the show on Twitter at Wrestle Hunks Pod. I'm on Twitter as @SauceMarlow. Pricey is on Twitter as @EvilBrodyPrice, and Nat is on Twitter as @NathMarlow. You can also find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, and any services that support podcasts. We should be on Spotify sometime in the near future. Also, don't forget to rate us on iTunes because that makes Nat happy. And
it does.
And it stops the government from preventing him talking about Kai En Tai. Help this man. The government are onto him. They don't want him to reveal the secrets of Kai En Tai.
Exactly. I need that shit.
But before we can go, it leads us to the part of the podcast where we each suggest a show to cover for next week's episode that we put up in a Twitter poll. And Pricey and Nat had the great idea this week to have an Australian theme to our poll because Super Showdown is coming up. So we've had a few things to choose from. But what did we settle on for the poll?
Was it all the WCW shows?
I think there was 2 WCW Nitros that were taped in Australia, one in Sydney and one in Melbourne. So I feel like it makes sense.
One's in Queensland. One's in Queensland as
No, I'm looking at it here. There's a Sydney one and a Melbourne one. There's a
I watched the Queensland one the other night.
There's a Thunder taping in Sydney, and I think the Thunder taping's in Queensland.
Yeah, I didn't watch Thunder.
I don't know, man.
I watched it the other night.
Maybe I'll take your word for it. We'll sort it out. But there's 2 Nitros at the very least.
Or if there's 3 Nitros, we'll just put.
I was gonna say 2 Nitros, and then there's a Thunder where the tag titles are on the line, and Ernest Miller defeats Kevin Nash by disqualification.
Nice.
Goldberg also defeats Chuck Palumbo and Sean Stasiak, so that seems like a good event to put up in there.
We didn't have a lot to work from. I had a suggestion of the NXT show that they did in Australia, but that would be actually good.
Yeah, the quality of that's way too high for this show.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm happy with whatever you guys want to throw out there.
I think the real reason why we're doing this poll is our wild card suggestion, which is Nathan Jones's career.
Yes.
Which I'm sure, that out of all of them is probably going to be the best one. It's probably the hardest one to do because there'll probably be a lot more matches than any of those Nitros or Thunders. But I think it'll be worth it. Nathan Jones, the A-list actor now.
I'm sure the 3 of us will do all our homework to get that done. Because it wouldn't be homework; it'd just be researching the big fella.
Exactly.
He had a storied career. He actually didn't. Have you ever gone through and looked at all the matches he's had in his career?
I haven't. I look forward to doing that.
If you want a little preview here, I'll count him. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He had 8 televised matches in his career. 9 if you count WrestleMania 19. So
nice.
I've seen the Survivor Series match he was a part of.
I've seen his Survivor Series match, and that's it. That was the only pay-per-view he ever actually wrestled on, because 19 he's not really in it.
He was only there for only the big shows for Nathan Jones.
Yeah, he's just... We'll get to discuss the weird career of Nathan Jones, hopefully. I'm just going to straight out say it. That's the one I'll be voting for.
I think we all will.
We'll just rig this poll. So that decides the poll for this week and pretty much does this. Does anybody have any final words?
Leo Rush versus Noam Dar to F5 Live this past week. Go check it out.
I agree with that. Nat probably has some final words, but we can't hear him because the damn FBI has got him again.
I'm just going to say, catch us at Super Showdown.
Yeah, come say hi at Super Showdown. You probably don't know what we look like.
Hey, just DM one of us. The three of us will be there if you want to say hello.
Yeah, wear the shitty koala with a mask shirt, and we'll know that you're a fan.
Exactly right.
Brandon's going to talk to everyone that's wearing one of those shirts.
And I'm sure one of them will be a fan.
And if you bring your Sharpie, he'll sign it for you.
100%. I'll shine your phone that you listen to the podcast with.
Brandon will sign babies. He'll sign anything. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I'll do anything to promote the podcast. So I guess that does it for this episode. Stay hunky.